and brought your stuff. Now, where did Dan end up going?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think Knoxville. I think he just.
First, he needs to go up to the Smokies. Where are you from?
Oh, we're from Kingsport.
Okay. You've probably been there 1,000 times too.
She's on
Yeah.
his way.
Yeah,
She's right
Knoxville is
there.
really good.
Well, we're two of our students.
Ah, that's wonderful.
Okay.
I'm gonna come back to her one day.
She needs to come back. She's one of my colorful girls, and then Amanda is now she's kind of going all abstract on me. We've done some really fun abstracts lately in the studio.
Abstract.
And
two 40 by 30 canvases
Freedom
yesterday.
ah,
And I was like I want to do it, but I'm nervous.
I think I've
and
chopped
I'm
this
taking
one's
him in.
tail off. So.
I'm taking him in the shop.
we'll have fun.
And shoe shop.
I'm just gonna leave mine for a second. I'm gonna come and walk one around, okay? I'm gonna go tripsing through, okay, and see how everybody's doing. Now you're gonna wanna make sure you have room for the legs and the reflection.
I know, and his tail got chopped off.
Right, so if you're not committed at this point, if you need to
So
move them
move it.
up, you can move them up. So what I would do is just go back over, start over, because the kind of the fun part of this painting is partly doing that reflection. So you keep in mind that you're going to want to give yourself room for the reflection, okay? And there's no point, at this point of the game, look, don't feel like, oh no, I got to start over. It's okay, because we're not committed yet, right?
I hope.
Okay. You're fine.
Okay.
Now, I want you to look at the back. And I know this is a little bit difficult, but see, this back goes way up like this. And another thing that you can do, for those everybody's painting on a square piece, and basically your reference picture is square. Look at where things are in relationship to other things. For example, the top of the painting and the top of that bird's back, there's only a little tiny space there, isn't there? So if you look at where things are in relationship and are concentrating and really looking at the negative space, and for those who aren't familiar, negative space is the stuff that isn't, okay? It's not the flamingo, it's the space around the flamingo. So if you're looking up at the top portion of the painting here, or at the photo reference, we have this space up here is your negative space. All this space. We see that it's very short distance from the top. So kind of look at where things are in relationship to other things. The border of the photograph, for example, the border of your reference. There should only be so much space. So if you're starting smack dab in the center, now I'm opted to do mine a little bit smaller, but use your reference to help guide you. That's much better, Anne. That you've got that dark stuff a lot better than looking over it. Okay, I like where yours is going. You're like me. I'm doing mine smaller, and you're doing your shapes. Your shapes are looking good. Keep doing with what you're doing, and you are too.
It might be too big. Is it too big?
I don't think it's too big, but know that I think it's okay. You've got the head, the bill is almost like, you see it's kind of bent, so the bill is going to come right underneath here. So this may come out a little bit here and over, okay? Everybody looks like you're doing it, you're off to the races, and everything's looking good. Yeah, you're looking good. Oh yeah? Is anybody?
You have to text your viewers.
Two viewers?
We'll want to share them other stuff.
Okay.
So whenever you're done. just
Okay.
I'm moving them up.
Yeah, move them up. Move on up.
We're moving them around.
Okay. All right, you guys are good. You get the idea. You're flowing with it.
Move the bill.
Flowing and changing.
Flowing and changing. Isn't that how life is though, or it should
I
be?
love it.
Okay. Because like I'm looking at mine and I can tell my head's too big. Kinda. I know. What was I thinking? My head is just too big.
Boy, I'm sure glad my kids don't go with me, because I'd be right there with him.
Oh, yeah, life is just too short to be serious all the time. And I probably didn't get the body as big as it should be, because the head and neck are smaller I have it basically the same size. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit more. Bring it out a little bit more. And then out. Down. To here. And you can almost look at the bird's body. If it helps you to look at the bird's body, not including his tail, it's almost kind of egg-shaped, you know? So if you have things that are going to help you see it and that your brain will actually recognize, that's okay too. You won't hurt my feelings. I hear all this rubbing. I hear.
Yeah. I'll put it on and wipe it off.
That's it.
And what color green was it?
It doesn't matter what green it is. It's just as long as it, because you're going to form it. You're going to add some other colors soon. But I'm going right now. I just happen to have sap green, but there's going to be phthalo green, and we're going to add some browns to some of the greens. You'll be able to get into that part soon.
Okay.
But right now we're just trying to create the shape of the flamingo.
Okay.
Okay. So get your shape in where you're getting comfortable with it.
See if this is high enough, and I've lost his head completely. I think it's high enough.
Let's see.
But the head, I've lost.
I think it's high enough. Just get your head and neck in. It is kind of an odd shape when you look at it that way. When you look at it, you start really, but remember, if we concentrate on the negative space, you know that this is going to come down and then up. Look at how far down from if this is the height, it's your friend. If this is your, remember I said if you think of it like an egg, think of that as an egg, then this will come up, down, you know, you got it, and then it almost comes, his bill is almost level with his neck and area, so you're going to have to really work that in.
Yeah, I need to color it again.
It's okay. This is one of the more critical parts of this painting, is getting the shape. You know, and a lot of you are probably thinking, well, why didn't she let us draw this on?
Yeah.
Because a lot of you are used to doing that, but this is, and my students that I work with, they've heard me say it once, they've heard me say it a million times. My job as an instructor is to help teach you how to see. Not necessarily always just how to paint. We're not always going to have the opportunity to draw it on and to really be, when you do it that way, you're spending so much time drawing that you're focused in one area. You can't, it'll be very hard to get it done. I'm going to help you too.
Okay.
Let me help you get, I'm just going to use my,
Right.
let me see here. Is this your, this is your paint thinner?
Yes.
Okay. You have, okay, so we're going to,
Wipe it off?
I'm trying to, just trying to get the shape. So if this is the shape, and we're going to wipe this off.
Oh, yeah.
Here's this. It kind of does like this. This kind of comes up a little bit. So I'm pushing that paint. It probably comes to here, then it comes to here, then it comes to here, then it comes to here. We're going to bring this down and around. You see your you know what? Can I sit in your seat for just a second? Because I can't lean over it that far. I'm going to get you to that spot.
Okay. I have back trouble anyway.
I can't. I actually blew out my L5S one disc.
Oh my God.
When my son was just a tiny baby.
Did you have surgery?
Nope, I didn't, because at the time I was a nursing mother, and
You didn't have time.
I didn't have time for that business.
I know people
And
say,
I wouldn't even
why
take-
did you not have time? Well, if you're a woman, you realize that.
Right.
That's exactly right.
See, it comes back here, back around. And that bill is a weird shaped bill, kind of has a bend in it.
Yeah.
My dog.
We're gonna bring this down just a little bit more.
Yeah, but this is.
Then we're gonna bring this up. So I'm gonna put a little bit of color in.
Rub out. And I really like the rub out.
We're gonna bring this up a little bit.
Because you came last year, didn't
Yeah, and I gave that to my friends
We're gonna keep pulling with it until we get this, okay?
yeah.
So I'm looking at this space here, this negative space, seems like an easy little space to do.
Yeah.
Do the easy stuff first. That's another thing. Do the easy stuff first. And you can just keep playing with it until you feel like you've got it in a good spot. See, I'm looking at this little loop here, this loop-de-doop. I mean, this brush is not fine enough to do the real loop there, but we're getting close anyway. And then his head starts there, and then his bill.
Really? That is very cool.
Did you ask them?
No, I'm burning up. I think
I usually don't sweat, and I'm about to sweat.
I know, it is warming.
I'm menopausal, so it's like I'm just going.
You're on that one.
Yeah.
Me
too.
Whew.
But I'm just hot.
But it's funny, one of my husband's medicines that he's taking, he breaks out, and he gets hot and everything else.
Now you know how I feel.
How you like it?
How you liking me now? Alright, get this.
Okay, that may not be perfect, but it's there.
We know that there's
I
going to be a little
see
bit
it.
of hump and there's a little bit of, so you're able to kind of get that space in. And that's at least a start in the right direction, okay? So I'll let you refine it.
All right, but that's my brush.
Yeah,
Okay,
walk
thank you.
around, see where we at, where we at.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I didn't give myself
Okay.
enough reflection.
I see where you at. Can I help you get
got good
to that place?
I think maybe I'm making too big. I can have half a reflection.
No, you gotta do it.
Okay. This comes up.
I'm gonna get half of a reflection as well.
That's okay. You're gonna have plenty of opportunity to reflect. Look at her reflecting it.
Maybe my head's too big on my neck. And I don't like the shape of the neck. My bird's too big.
The shape is wonderful.
Make it one smaller.
I'm looking at this instead of the reference because my burden's not exactly correct.
You definitely have to do like some nice water work in the background. Like, you know,
I'm going back too fast. It's funny because you've got the white paint on here. What brush were you using to put your white paint on?
Oh,
All of them. Let me get this in here.
Such a good.
Did you move to be with one of your children?
No, we moved to a retirement
Oh, okay.
place. And we loved it.
Well, good. My sister-in-law and her husband did that.
Did they?
And they had their home built, but it's in a, you know, it's in like a subdivision.
Oh, yeah?
just for
Right.
older
See, I
people.
know you would be
Right.
all
Her-
over that
Her home
carousel.
is beautiful.
If you had gone,
We
Really?
did several carousel horses.
Maybe if I
and-
just cleaned his whole
was it
body.
for a carousel or?
Well,
We live in a house.
Yeah, we do too.
most of them were miniatures.
Ah.
We did miniature carousels, and then we did a regular size carousel. As a group.
So you did carousel horses for, as a group, actual
He went out
carousel
and raced
horses.
yesterday and had to come in 3 times
Where'd you-
and
Or,
race.
you know, just learning.
He will not talk about moving because I have a nice house too. And he just, so the only place I'll be moving to is 6,600, so don't worry about it.
See where we're going.
But he may change it tonight.
That's true, that's true. We wanted to get that
Almost
done.
8 years.
We got it.
Right.
I was in the area except for
We didn't enjoy it.
Well, the fight.
Well, we collect antiques and everything in our house, oh my gosh. There's going to be, they'll be working on our house 3 or 4 years after we're gone, the kids will. They'll probably cuss us a lot.
It was great.
We had some, but we, our
We moved
house,
up here,
our
Disney
kids,
Museum was
most
out
of the really good antiques.
Uh-huh.
So,
Art countries and
I was very blessed. Okay, I think your shape is looking pretty good.
Well, I told her Heather that
Not too
the
far off,
other day, I said,
I'm gonna let you,
now these, I collect women's watches. And I said.
So you're gonna want to fill in your background, just at least enough so you can see the bird. So like, I'm looking at my bird from here, my bird's head's too big.
I said, don't just say that.
Let's see, can I sit in your seat for a sec? I'll just make sure you're, and I'm not even worried about the legs, you went ahead of me on that one. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, go. I know you have.
They closed the door.
Just do what you have to
When they get
get you to that point. You're like me, I made my bird's head too big. This, you know, with this light green. Okay. I am a green fiend. I love greens. I keep going for that thinking it's true.
I know they laugh at me at work because I take bags up to home. I'm ashamed to say I'm in the house like that. Those like here. What, you can't reuse them, and the canals that we throw and don't use, we just throw, you know, we keep them. If somebody wants to take them out for an hour. And I've also taken bags that maybe don't want you to, the animal shelter.
Vacations.
No, I mean,
But we, you have to get prepared.
Oh, I'm so bad.
So sometimes when I'm looking at just the negative space.
We have
And
two steps.
moving around, just look good, and then I see like, then I'll make everything else
When he had
end
his
up fitting into the.
arms anyway. So I told him, I said, we need to put a rail here.
Absolutely.
So he went out and got the wood and I stained it and varnished it and was all spread it, and that's up now, so.
Am I trying to copy or something?
Oh, sweetheart, I'm good. I've got that on my
Still
still.
don't think I got
Thank you.
compared to her, I do. Because he's got the lid.
And bless all beyond measure.
Right, good, but see, I don't know.
My daughter just called too. I have a daughter too who just got her letter that she's looking for. She is going back to, she's going to grad school. And she's going back to the UK. She studied in the UK for a little while. She has a BFA. She got hers in Bachelor of Fine Arts and concentration in drawing. She's also an artist, but she wants to be on the business end of art. And she wants to go curatorial sciences. And I was like, hey, you know what? I want my kids to be able to do whatever it is that they think they want to do that they're passionate about.
My kid decided that
Other drinks.
instead of going out and doing the work, she wanted to
Thing that
go.
grandpa's surgical.
I said, I tell you what, I think
They were
what you
when I
need
took
is
them
a
off the
little
instrument.
OJT.
OJT?
Yeah, on the job training.
Yes.
Get your butt out here and go to work. And you think.
Well, she is paying for her master's. My daughter right now is an AmeriCorps Vista for the Community Arts Center. So she's getting solid, what's the word, experience. But at the same time, I'm only helping her a little bit because I can only help her a little bit. I don't have, unfortunately, the means to be able to do everything she likes.
No, mine.
Oh, you got, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you know, as much as we're gonna try to help her kids as much as in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son was there 20 years and then my husband was there 4 when Vietnam was going on.
Yeah, and what did he do?
Okay, we're in a pretty good place. A lot of this is still gonna probably change stuff, but your basic shape will stay. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's see, how's-
So to do the greens, you dipped into this one and that one?
Yeah, I was just trying to, once I get over to mine and get mine fixed, cause I have that flamingo over there with a really big head. That's not good. Okay, yours is looking good.
I thought maybe I might.
There's a little bit more angles going on that should go on yours.
brought it.
You want me to get yours to that place?
I might could go down.
Okay, let me help you get it to that one place, and then, cause there's a lot of angles in the neck. And let's see, where is your paint thinner? That's your paint thinner. Brushes here.
So is the rest of it green? We go ahead and do the rest of it green?
Well, there's a lot of different greens, and we're gonna put a lot of different ones in there. But you can go ahead if it helps you to block it in, just so you can see everything better. It goes almost straight up here. I'm trying to take that. How's your boy doing? Is he doing better? Is your son doing better?
Pardon me?
Is your son doing better?
He's at home now.
And your name?
Detox and rehab.
Where did he end up going for it? Nashville.
Detox and national, and
And they're going there.
rehab somewhere. So now he's studying the Bible, which is good. It's a good sign.
Well, too, they also need,
Thanks for asking.
sure, I have a family
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, I think everybody has.
Well, my mother is a recovering alcoholic, and she's been sober for 40-something years.
That's great.
I don't remember, I have no bad memories of it. Other than, I knew that if Mom had a second bottle of Chianti, that meant I got blueberry pie at the time. As far as I was concerned, it's just fine, but, just contribute. Your mom, aren't you gonna have some? No, but she was a functioning alcoholic, all this thing.
Well, he's down on everything. This time it was terrible.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Oh, God bless. Yeah, that's a tough one.
which is,
Uh,
anymore, it's cheaper than
And he did a
alcohol.
great job.
Well, and but they say they say alcohol is still like cigarettes, and it's harder to get off of than even heroin. I have and my brother also. That's why I asked you if you went to Nashville, because that's where my brother went. He, and of all the things, because he was a recovering alcoholic too, but what he ended up getting into, believe it or not, and I didn't know this was something people was cold medicines, Benadryl and stuff. I had no idea, and to the point where he couldn't function without it. That was what he ended up going to detox, which to Nashville. I thought of all the things, I never would have thought that would have been something.
I know
They're
it.
precious. They're
She's at
precious.
home
So I
right
told
now,
her,
that's good.
like, if
Part of it is, he needs to be convinced to eliminate the environment.
look, your attendance.
Right. Well, that's it.
His girlfriend is, supposedly she went through something while he was there, but say all the line, you never know.
Right.
And right now, she's in jail down in Georgia for a swim, so it's, could be good, could be bad. I don't know.
What does your son do for a living?
He did.
Did he go to school?
He finished high school, but that's about it. He has a disability, he gets a little bit of a disability check, and other than that, he lives off his mom.
That is drugs.
Okay.
Mine too, thank goodness.
That puts stress on marriage.
More than what I think she
Because as a parent, you just want to help, you just want your kids to do well, and but sometimes.
But she knows them a job. No, but she's been engaged twice, and she's the one who broke it off. And she has a side that she rents. Well, it's more than a room. Plays his computers downstairs and has a bedroom and everything.
I think you can probably get it in town. I think your option rate is on that. I was trying to get something that you have a little bit more refinement, but you got it, you got it. Oh, you're like me, you have a big-headed flamingo too, girlfriend. Is that right? Yeah, it is. Let's get your flamingo head back where it needs to be.
Figure it
Oh,
out.
hell.
Secret.
I'm gonna hit you. Just like Hamburger Helper. No, that was not Hamburger Helper, that was, and I hailed. That was Crisco, y'all. And I really want a big
You
head.
need to share.
I made fried chicken with Crisco.
Is that better?
Huh?
Is that better? More better?
More better?
More better?
No, yeah, it is more better, but let me get in there and just get your shape in, okay? Your shape isn't too bad.
Yeah, I've moved it like 5 times.
I know. I know, that's, okay, is this your paint thinner? Which is?
Right, it's paint.
There. Yep. Okay, you're probably one of the few that has it pretty high.
Well, it's because I've moved it 5 times.
Okay.
I wanted more reflection.
Well, okay, but you have it high, but it's kind of, you've got to add some of the other stuff back. So we're going to we're going to change it a little bit. Don't worry about those legs yet. Take those legs right off. We'll take those legs right off. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and bring this down. Your neck, we're going to add a little bit up on the top here. So we're playing bang. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the negative and positive space at the same time. Okay. Look what I've done. And so it looks like a whoop. See how that kind of does like that? We're doing that. Getting that little.
Did you say he had a stroke?
No.
He had, bypass, triple bypass.
Put back
So
some of
I
this
was on
on
our way to
side.
Charleston, and he started shaking all over. That's where Doug lived at the time, our son.
We'll widen it out this way.
And told Doug when we got there, I said, he's going to have to go to emergency. Which one you want him to go to? You want him to go to the VA. VA was wonderful down there. Wonderful. And I like him to down there and had to stay in the hospital 5 days. And now he's got prostate cancer. So he's going to go have it done August 5th. Just a week and a half. They have no major surgery.
I have a lot of greens out.
My husband didn't have green gold prostate. It looks like.
There's not as much green gold. There's only that little bit, or even a cadmium green. That's the kind of the shines. You know, there's like some really fun shines there.
And his
Oh, okay. So I keep moving it a little bit up this way and down this way. This end. There.
So I keep, they did
There.
New York. They did. But he said he came
And then you can put it off to the side here.
The doctor said this is going to.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's even on your.
He told me, I said, he was one of an eye for you, and he said
I'm
it'll
just
be
trying
all
to
day
think this.
for.
Okay,
There's a
I
few
think
people watching
you're
live.
in better shape now. You're in better shape than me because I got a big old
Sound?
flamingo
Yeah.
over there.
Okay.
But go ahead, and I see
Well,
Hillary's kind of like stop.
It's not too.
Do you have
it's
a
not too
question?
big. It picks
No,
you
what am I
up
supposed to
more.
do? Just, if you want to just do a light version of the green all the way down, but avoid the area where the reflection of the bird is, okay? You can see where the reflection of the bird is, you have a reference, so keep that near you. And look where the reflection is going to be, because you remember I said we try to keep our CADs as clean as we can. Let me see where yours is, honey. Your body looks pretty good. You got a nice body there. Nice body, Amanda. We're talking about her flamingo body, but okay.
My head's big, but
My head's big, but my body's pretty good. Oh, you know, we gotta have fun. And so I'm gonna start using the green to get some stuff in here. Reflections.
So I didn't want to use that picture because I was like, no, I'm not supposed to go off the painting.
Yeah, well, what?
I said,
Let me have a smaller brush.
I'm not supposed to go off the painting, but it's not.
Really, you should, because my painting is not as good as it should be.
Is that your? I thought that was your painting.
That is my reference.
That's your ref. So
That's my ref.
There's your smaller one.
Okay, this one will be fine. I've got a control here.
You got it with that one.
Yeah, we're good. And I'm just trying to get that shape.
The triangle.
Yeah. See, you're doing it right. You're hearing the, and I always like that little keyhole. It looks like a little, I don't know, not a keyhole, but I don't know. That makes me think of an ear.
Yeah.
Just the shape. I'm just looking at the shapes. And there's very small little angles you'll see. And there's a.
You know, you see an ear. I see like the pipes of the under the sink that you have to unscrew.
An S-trap? Are you looking at S traps?
to clean your
Actually,
face
the flamingo's neck does kind of look like an S. You know, like is it an S trap? Is that
P-trap.
it? P-trap. That's it. Thank you, Matt.
I'm like, yeah, that's a thing for unscrewing the face wash and toothpaste out of.
And like if your ring falls in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there.
So this screen is what the viewers are seeing. So it's a nice close up of.
Of her, how cool.
See what I should have had, and I was like, Matt, you should be on this side because I do have, you know, this is not my good side.
Oh, what?
You know, we're talking about big heads, big-headed flamingos, and big-headed art instructors. Yes.
I understand. Which side's your good side?
This side, because my hair's all fluffy. Yeah.
Your left side. I feel like my left side's my good side too.
Yeah. You know, everybody's got a good side and a bad side.
If someone stands on my right and they're like, or on my left and they're like, here, let's get a picture. I'm like, here, let me get over here.
That's exactly what I do.
Let me get over here. Oh, good.
So it kind of goes like this, and then there's the tail.
Yeah.
I think we're a little bit closer, okay? So now I got to get back on mine because I have a big-headed flamingo. Because we can't have that. Excuse me. All right.
But you got a good body.
I know. I have a good body, but big-headed flamingo.
Well, I got a snake, so it's.
So, and you have a snake. Well, I'm gonna get, as soon as I get mine exactly the way it should be, then I'll jump over again. I'll keep moving around, okay, guys? I don't want everybody to like go, oh God, she's left me, and now I'm like stuck with this snake head. And this is the beautiful thing about oil paints, is because they are so workable for a longer period of time. I started off in watercolor, was my first medium, and I had an artist in Nashville, a wildlife artist named Philip Crow, who was looking at my work, and he says, you know, you really don't paint like a watercolorist, you paint like somebody who uses oil or acrylic. Now keep in mind, I had seen my mother painting my whole life, who primarily used acrylic. Oh, it's 111. Make a wish, y'all. 1111, it's, yeah. Make a wish, make a wish. But anyway, he was the one who said, you really probably should switch mediums because you're not really painting like a, you know. And I said, all right. So he was the one who encouraged me to paint with acrylic, which was completely opposite of how I understood paint to work, because I was a watercolorist. So it took a while to learn that. But when I switched, then I was working in acrylics for a long time, and I worked professionally doing a lot of commission work in acrylic until I started having to do portraits. And I thought right away I was going to go insane with trying to do portraits in acrylic because it just dried too fast. I was spending so much time mixing color, and it was not ever correct. And I thought, nope. And then my mother was the one who finally switched me over. You know, I think Matt was about 2 years old. So it's not been that long, you know. Matt may think so, but not when we talk about our journey as artists. It's not that long ago. So I'm refining my shapes, guys, and I'm not exactly there yet. So don't feel like if you still have time to refine things, don't feel like you can't. Because this is the beautiful part. We are not even committed to this thing yet. I know it seems hard to believe, right? This girl seems to have a hard time with commitment, it sounds like. But I'm just saying, we don't have to scrape paint. We're not, who's been in the middle of a painting and you just know you've been painting on it for a long time and it's just not right and you scrape it? How many people have scraped? Okay, Anne has. You scraped up, you just go, ugh, and then scrape all the paint off. Good. That's good.
Sit and throw it in the garbage.
I've done that too. I have had pieces that ended up in the trash. It's funny, when I first started doing human portraits, I had done one of Matt when he was about 7, and it came out so well. I was like, there's nothing to it. Why do people make such a big deal about this? There's nothing. And then I tried to do my daughter's, and she looked like an alien. I was like, this is not working out too well. And I had tried and tried and tried. And I didn't scrape. I just kept working it and failing at it, and eventually just, made the decision to scrap it.
They said painting someone that you know and is kin to is the hardest thing.
Yep, I definitely agree. Definitely agree.
What did you say?
Painting with
Somebody you don't know.
kin, yeah, you always paint with somebody you don't know, because if you paint with like your daughter or son or something, it never comes out right.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
We'll never
Or
see
you
it.
don't think it comes out right, let's put it that way.
That's right.
All right, I'm getting closer. Getting closer. How's everybody else doing?
Fantastic.
I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm moving. See, I keep inching off one side and going a little bit into a different direction.
Still using the same paintbrush?
I'm actually using a smaller one. I'm using a number 12 filbert.
So you really have wore off on me. That's all there is to it.
I've rubbed off on you?
Yeah, because I, had already switched to 12 as well.
Okay, well, there you go.
I keep going back and forth.
Because you must have had an amazing teacher. It's just intuitive now. That's probably what it is. Okay, and I keep refining my neck too, y'all. And it's funny because really when you look at the flamingo's head, it is kind of biggish. Compared to, like when you think of other birds' heads. Because so much of it is that very specialized bill that they have. Now everybody knows why flamingos are pink, yes?
No.
No?
And they've not been to Disney World.
Then yes, you've obviously not been to Disney.
Not lately.
They're pink because of the shrimp they eat.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yes, their diet is...
Oh, yeah.
I should be really pink.
Then you are very lucky. If you're eating shrimp,
Yeah, I love shrimp,
I like shrimp too.
oysters, anything.
Yeah, but
And you should live by the sea.
if they don't eat that shrimp, what color are they?
They're palish white. They're just kind of black.
Really?
But that's why their bill is shaped that way. That's what their bill is very specialized. And I'm keep playing with this neck. The P-trap. I'm playing with the P-trap. Because that's what this looks like. Okay, and I'm getting closer, I'm getting closer. And what I may do here in a second, before I even get into the water, even though I generally like to kind of get a large part of the background in, because I keep saying I want to keep my cadmiums clean. I will probably be getting into cadmium before too long. My flamingo colors here. Now, when you look at that flamingo, what colors do you see?
Blue, green, yellow.
The actual bird.
Oh, the bird. Okay. White,
Red, orange.
Okay. A lot of different colors. It's not just pink, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on here. And that's what I wanted to hear. It's just that there's a lot more going on. I hear that noise again.
You're
Is
right.
that Ann?
That would be me.
I hear you huffing over there.
I do that.
Sorry.
And I keep moving this over. Ooh. I may change that a little bit, but because I don't want to change it too much more. Because I want reflection, and I may end up moving my reflection around a little bit. Because that's the fun part. And
not even worrying about the legs yet, y'all. I'm just worrying about the shape of the body, still. Now, how many people do generally draw on their canvases first?
Me.
Draw on your canvas first. Now, I know a lot of people, a lot of artists that actually use projection. There's really nothing wrong with it as long as you're a comparable, you're a good drawer too. I think where that becomes a crutch is if you don't really have drawing skills. Right. I think that there's no substitute for drawing skills, and it's a shame when you see people that's what they do always. They don't even, because they don't know how to draw. Well, I would I tell most of my students, especially my young students that are wanting to go to college and major in art, that if they have time to sit around watching television, you got time to draw. Do this figure, and then the person changes position, and then we do another. We're constantly testing ourselves a little bit more in our skill as drawers. I mean, there really is no substitute. Now, a lot of people say, yeah, but that's just not my thing. Well, perhaps it should be, at least to branch out and try it. Doing 30-second sketches here and there, 3 minutes, then stretching it out for 3 minutes. You'll be surprised at how much that will improve your drawing ability. Okay, I am about to go forward. Hell or high water. Here we go. All right, I think I'm okay with my shape of my bird. I'm going to walk around one more time before I start putting any more down on my...
Wonderful.
How we doing?
There.
Look at, I didn't even ask her. Thanks, Faye. Let me go have a seat. She didn't say, got up.
Yeah.
Where's your picture?
Oh, right there.
How are you looking at this even?
It looks like one of those tropical flowers, the head does.
How do you keep this so you can see it? Because that's how I don't understand how you're looking.
I can't see you.
That's right.
You should always look at your reference, y'all.
I can't see you either with that there.
Okay, you should be looking at your reference. Oh, you can't see her. Oh, you're
I can't see you.
Yeah, for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we need to find a different way. Can we put it here?
Sure.
Then we need to make it so you can see your reference. I don't want you to not be able to see your reference. And I'm going to work off of both sides here, and I'm going to bring this down.
I'll see what I did wrong.
See, I'm going to look at this shape here. Then I'm going to go back the other way.
I knew I had this too big, way too big at first, so I tried to narrow that down.
I know. The struggle is real, isn't it?
Yep.
I know. I get it. And this comes down a little bit here. We're going to change some stuff here in a minute.
Has everybody already taken a class from Suzanne before?
No.
No, it's just that Amanda and Linda they're from Kingsport, Tennessee, and they are some of my students. Now, they both take private instruction, or have in the past. I need to get Linda back in there. But Linda's good. She always keeps me in rags, so I got no problems with that.
That's right.
As long as I'm in rags.
You just keep bringing me rags, and we're good. We can still be friends, okay? You bring me rags, I'm good.
And the artists that Buddy brings up here, I just live so close that I try to catch every one of them. Because I just live, down the road there. So.
But you didn't come last year when I taught this
No,
class.
I did not. For some reason.
Yeah.
I happened to just see the class from J.D. Wayne's.
Oh yeah.
Who was it?
J.D. was up here the last class. Marion Dutton. He was at her class. Buddy.
They brought her up, and he was in one of those classes. And he did a beautiful force while he was up there. I'm actually working on a very large horse piece right now in the studio. It's 5 foot by 4 foot.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
and it's a commission out of North Carolina, and it's the kind of commission that's makes your year.
This guy was offered $400
Yeah.
for his horse while we was still painting, and he wouldn't take it.
Ah, yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, not lovely.
Uh-huh.
That is
Isn't it
nice.
beautiful?
It is pretty.
I've never seen that one.
I'll show her, and I'll be right back. Oops, get my food.
Those things get in the way sometimes.
Yeah, that's the one. He was offered $400 while he was still up here in class and wouldn't do it.
Oh my goodness.
How big was the piece?
The bigger canvas that
That's
I
too
had,
big.
the ones at 16, yeah. What I was doing wrong. Oh, I didn't put it in the lane.
Moving up. Oh, that's a lovely sound. That is.
I'm good. I'm good. You guys?
Yeah, my daughter had called just a few minutes ago and just got her letter from the University of Richmond in London that says they want her to come. She is 24 and is going back to, she's getting her wants to get her master's degree in curatorial sciences. She has her undergrad is BFA, with a concentration in drawing. So she's also an artist.
So you got her to draw.
You know what? I really didn't. I never was one to stress to my kids like I want you to draw. My mother didn't either. I think either people are or they're not. That's all.
Yeah.
And we're going to make some of that space. This goes to here and up here.
Okay, now, this is this.
Yes, I'm cutting
Okay.
back in.
Okay.
So I'm working off of both sides of the space here. And knowing how to, and not saying I'm always doing it the right way, but I'm trying, is working, this is the positive space, but I'm taking the paint off, right?
Right.
And I'm putting paint in the negative space.
It's kind of reverse of what our brain normally wants to do, but it is actually quite helpful in learning how to do that.
I've never drawn a stick man.
Well, you know, and like I said, but anytime you get to manipulate negative and positive space like this, it's really, it helps reinforce a lot of other elements of drawing and painting it helps us see. Again, it goes back to my job as an artist or as an instructor is to teach you how to see.
Now that's how Marion Dutton taught, except she said it was the old master. She said it wasn't her technique. She said that's how the old masters
Did what?
it. Take off negative and
Oh,
that's
well,
how they painted.
they've been doing
They did it a long time before the rest of us did. So and you have to also remember too that even the old masters did use projection. Now we're probably thinking, how did they use projection?
Yeah, exactly.
Or tracing, but they did that with a camera obscura.
I was thinking sunlight or something.
Well, it was basically a grid system set up with glass, and they did a lot of tracing, as a matter of fact. But they also didn't have the benefit of electrical light, or they had to use the sunlight. That's all they had. And so, if you're, you work with you work with what you have.
That's right.
And I think they were brilliant. It really wasn't until things didn't get easier for painters until about the time Monet invented, the whole movement with the French Impressionists, because that was the first time that paint was available in tubes. And that's when they started plein air, and they started loosening up, and they started going outside to paint, and all this type of stuff started happening during that time, and it was very revolutionary, because up to then it was all studio work, and it was all there was no cameras, so it had to be done from life, and they had to figure out the best way to get it done. So these people were drawing and doing all these things all the time. They were practicing.
She's done it.
Okay, we're gonna, as soon as I get everybody to that place, we're gonna all get there together, okay?
Oh,
So no worries.
Do you mind if I go check on my room real quick?
No, go ahead. I haven't even done that yet.
Were they full?
They better not be.
Last night they were.
I reserved my room, but I have to make sure they got a room for me with 2 beds. I didn't think to ask.
If they didn't, I have one with 2 beds.
Okay, you do have one?
Well, I haven't checked in yet, but I reserved one with 2 beds for me and Cheatham both. Like whenever I called, I was like,
Right.
make sure I have 2 beds in there. So I mean,
Okay, then I'll switch with you.
yeah, if you only have one, like, cause it doesn't matter to me either way. But
Okay.
yeah, you could totally switch with me. So.
Or Matt can have his own room and we can be like, bunk buddies.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
When you get a second, you need to put the stream link on Facebook.
Do what now?
When you get a second, you need to put the stream link on Facebook.
Okay. I'll just give you my. I'll just get it on there and you can do it.
They do a lot of 4-wheeling around here, so a lot of the people brings their 4 wheels and stays here.
We noticed that when we stayed here last time because we went to a
ATV
restaurant.
parking.
There was like ATV parking, and I'm like, "What's that all about?"
Yep.
And somebody said to me, "Well, a lot of them lose their license to for drinking, so they can drive their ATVs everywhere." I'm like, "No, that's not why."
We had this one little man in Knoxville. He was riding his bicycle.
Because they'd taken everything away, and he was still drunk on the bicycle, and then they took his bicycle away.
That's very sad.
Because they was afraid he would run out in front of traffic with it.
Well, sure. Okay, you're kind of closer in your shape, okay? Let me stay here, that here, move on to the next
Back
place.
over here.
And let's see. All right, I have been here before. Now, I have been here before.
Yes. Did I mess it up?
No, well, nothing that can't be fixed, because what do we say? It's just paint.
That's right.
And we're not committed yet. So do you have your room?
Oh, yeah, I want to make sure. 2 weeks ago, I made reservations about a month ago, but 2 weeks ago I called in both hotels I was staying at for this week and next weekend. They're like, no, we don't have any record of it.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me. My last trip to DC was a nightmare. I go to DC quite a bit, and I'm trying to schedule a watercolor workshop, plein air workshop. And so, I go anywhere. I just always don't need an excuse to go. I love to go to DC. And I usually go through Priceline or one of those kind of companies, and never usually have a problem. Well, I made my reservation, trucking down the road, and I get a phone call from England, from London, England. I'm like, my daughter's not there now, so it's okay. I don't have to answer this. And it was the company, the third party, that booked my hotel, and they wanted to let me know that there was, even though I had reservations and confirmation numbers, that there had been an overbook, and they were moving me to another hotel. Okay, and the other hotel was was even nicer than the one I had initially booked. I'm like, okay. So I get to that hotel. Here I pull into the Embassy Row Hotel, or the Liaison, that's what it was. And I went in and I said, hey, I'm Suzanne Justis. They moved my reservation, yada yada, and they're like, we don't have you. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. They said, no, you don't understand, we don't have you. I'm like, no, wait, this is long story short, I have a room, and it turns out there was a police convention, and every 8th grade school in this country had their field trip going on. And there was no room in the inn anywhere. And I'm like, oh no. So the company that I booked that messed up my reservation, I spent 4 hours in the lobby of the hotel that I didn't have a space in because I was using their Wi-Fi so I could try to get a place. They ended up getting me a place in something Harbor, Maryland. Which was about a half hour away, and it was not in DC. And I usually walk everywhere I need to go to do what I do.
The traffic is horrible.
Right. Oh, it's not. Atlanta is a much worse situation. But anyway.
You know, it doesn't matter what time of night you try to go around the Belt Loop in Washington D.C. or day, night,
Right.
doesn't matter. You're going to be in a traffic jam.
But
Doesn't matter.
so so I'm going to Maryland. It turns out it was a what do you call it? The Gaylord Entertainment. It's a $600 and something a night hotel. But they said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. We'd have to put you someplace. And I was like, don't worry, you'll take care of it? Are you serious? You really took care of things for me. How do I know? And they said, you'll just have to trust us. I'm like, trust you? Really? I did. I trusted them. And they still didn't got me fixed. They didn't fix me up. I ended up making my own reservation at a different place. I basically lost an entire day. Well, actually, I lost almost 2 days in not knowing where I was going. Wow. It was terrible, and they ended up reimbursing me for everything except for my initial stay. So all my out-of-pocket, so I still ended up paying $700 for the hotel that I booked initially, but they paid for the other one. So they didn't really lose too much, and I really, other than time, but still, it was the principle. It was just, they were so terrible. So if you ever have to book something through Lovecations, which is, they have it on Trivago, it's one of the third parties, stay away. Do not do it. Run in the opposite direction.
Washington D.C. and my husband wants to do that for.
Oh, you need to go.
Stay up there for about 2 weeks and do it.
There's so much to do in D.C. and it's really a nice time. I know I have favorite places that I like to eat. I'm the person they kick out of all the art museums. I'm sorry, ma'am, but we're closing. We have lives too, and we like to get to them. You know, we're like, but you don't understand. I want to stay here and do this. And they're like, yeah.
When he was in hospital at Charleston, so I stayed at the hotel and said, there's a art gallery just 2 days. I'll go there. I'm going. Thank you. I may be late coming to see you.
Oh, look at you. I like what yours is. What a fun looking look that is. I'm not going to say anything to you. I'm not going to say anything to you because even though it's a little bit different than, and we're going to get into the backgrounds and stuff, that has a really interesting look to me. What do you feel like? Okay, but it's a different approach, and I like it. I like what you're doing, and we're going to get into the bird, and we're going to get a lot firmer in our colors and stuff in our application. Well, you're actually looking at my picture, which is probably not as accurate, my painting, as opposed to your reference. The reference is probably a lot more accurate, so you won't hurt my feelings if you just look at that. If you look at just a reference, because, you know, obviously, I'm an artist and completely flawed, so don't worry. That looks good, honey. I'm not gonna, we're gonna get off to the races here, okay? Oh, okay. We're gonna get off to the races. All right, buddy, yours is looking good too. Yeah, we'll be widening the necks and stuff, but we'll be able to do that more paint.
That's the only time I was down there.
I know, as we all have, but I think the basic look is fine. Look at that.
Me too, and then I left when I left the motel. I left at 4 o'clock in the morning, I missed all the traffic.
I actually have rubbed off on her.
And I had to go on to it. And it was
We don't have any Kim Crawford here.
because they were working on the rest.
Yeah,
So when
we'll
they come in for
always
shoplifting, I intend to pay for this.
Do you know the last place that we stayed, Matt and I took my mom to Charlotte to go see her sister.
Oh, me too.
And we stayed at a
Holiday Inn Express there, and I was so thirsty, and I ended up basically stealing water from them
They
because
were
I
live
said,
right now.
"Oh, are we?" So I'm telling everybody where I stayed and how I stole. Well, it wasn't really my. I mean, I said I can put this on the room, yes, and then the lady at the desk said, "Sure." Well, gosh, it never showed up on my bill, and I thought, yeah. Good cover, good cover. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, 70. Yeah. And then it took me through Atlanta, and then it made me loop back around like that, and then I come back in the
I hear
way.
food. I'm wanting food. I'm thinking about food
And
now.
that was so
I can't help it.
unnecessary because there were so many roads.
When will we
Why do you sound like my dog?
When will we
That's
do
what it
like
says.
the shoots
Also,
we do lunch that even remotely
It's
to
just like, I'm gonna say, since I want to get it to a good place. I mean, I would say if you can hold on to one, is that going to be too long?
No, I'm just,
No.
not here, text.
I mean, if somebody needs to eat sooner, that's fine. But I usually like to try to
He was gonna go someplace else.
get this to a good place. Put this in a little bit here. But that's basically it. You're good.
So, I need to start making
Your actually looks pretty good. Your head looks good. It will be a little bit more refined, but I think it's in a good place.
sure. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna get on here, and I'm gonna start
Will you
laying
go ahead
down.
and share that?
Huh?
Will you go ahead and share that?
Her daddy did
I
that
sent you a link
thing
on your
he's
text. Just
passed.
put that link on your Facebook. Watch out.
Okay, excellent.
Are you gonna go back through and edit on YouTube?
One of the girls in class.
It is. It does. So it's live streaming to YouTube, and then people can go back and watch it. I mean, obviously not going to do the whole thing because I want to be here for it. But you know, maybe an hour or two here and there. We've been going for an hour, but.
I'm painting my hat in August.
Oh, okay.
Nice job on your portrait.
I think there's
Have you tried it?
I have not.
I think the.
Thinking about it.
It's a good
Put
class.
down
It's
the
a
You can tweet it too if it gives you
think-
the option.
Yeah, I just don't know if I'll have all the
Now,
time.
this is the one that painted Clint Eastwood. She painted my sideboard.
I got a new boss.
And his mailbox is there.
My
Yep.
goodness.
Then if you can tweet it along, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
I hate that.
So if it comes to that, I'm just gonna retire and just do painting.
This is one I didn't get finished in her class.
Quit for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have an extra charger.
I can look. I should. Let me look real fast.
Cause a little jumbled in the charger.
How long did it take?
All
you?
I had was orange or red.
Is it
Not
$10?
very
It took me
far.
5 hours yesterday.
It's an iPad.
I have no idea.
It was
Little trip.
Let's see.
well, I
It
was
does take
doing
lightning.
fine
Okay.
until I got.
Yes,
I don't think it allows me to do it, honey. It's not letting me copy and paste.
I'm just really excited about learning how to do the water
Here it is.
and the
That's
reflection.
There it is.
That'd be really cool.
I think
Actually,
you meant-
everything's really cool. Learning how to do the feathers.
She said that was much.
Just all of it.
That is beautiful.
Then I don't know if you should share it to a business page.
Okay, so tell me about
However you get the
Gamsol.
most
What
publicity.
exactly do you use Gamsol
I
for?
hope
You
I'm
put
taking her
Gamsol.
place.
Gamsol is just a paint thinner, but it's
Let me
odorless
see.
because you don't want to be breathing in all the fumes.
So how is it different from the Bob Ross's odorless thing? Same
Yes.
difference?
That I don't know.
What did you ask?
She was wondering how
Just a
Gamsol is
gambling
different from
product.
Bob Ross's.
Oh, it's
odorless.
Gamsol is a product made by Gamblin.
Okay,
It's a Gamblin product. It's a very low VOC.
okay.
It's I'm always trying to look for any opportunity to be as safe as I can with my health.
Right.
Because I'm in it 8 hours a day or more. It's why I went to Gamsol. I've used other products. I find it to be the one that I like the best, and it seems to be the less VOCs of any of the products. It's a little bit safer,
Okay.
but it's just an odorless paint thinner. Okay.
Can you get through,
That
buddy?
passcode on the live stream.
Huh?
You just got the passcode of your iPad on the live stream.
It's the year my son graduated high school, people. It's 2019. There we go. Now I don't know how to get into my stuff here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and very lightly put down some of my bird colors, okay? I'm going to be very loose with it at first, but again, wanting to keep my cadmiums kind of clean, I don't want them to get dulled down or anything. I'm just going to start laying some in. So I'm going in with actually just the cad red and just kind of popping it in there.
Light or medium?
Light if you have it.
Okay.
Light if you have it. Simply because I like to keep the brightest brights as bright as I can. If that sounds
really redundant, but you get the idea. So I'm just putting in just a mixture, and I'm being very conscious of any color shifts, temperature shifts and color shifts. And when I say that, that's basically meaning I don't, like if it goes to a cool, to a warm, I'm trying to be a little bit conscious of that. And everybody knows what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the temperature of paint, yes? Yes. Okay. Because I know most of y'all have painted before, so it's not like... And I will use a stroke that's similar to, even though we've got a lot of feathers here, and I'm not really doing detail yet, I will still use my paint stroke in the direction that those feathers are growing. So I'm not just kind of filling it in and making it look like I'm coloring in something. I am actually using the stroke that I want it to eventually look like feathers. So I'm actually going up on my stroke a little bit here. And I see that as I'm going over the back of this bird, that orange, that cadmium turns more orange. So I'm just adding a little bit of orange to it. Even though it may not be as evident at first. I am a wiping fool, okay? I keep a wiping towel right next to me, always. And I'm not even going in with a very detailed brush, y'all. I am still painting with a pretty big brush. So I'm not worried about detail, not yet. But I'm just looking, and my eye, I will stand. I prefer to stand at an easel. I know everybody else is sitting here. But the reason I like to stand at an easel is because I can get off my piece. I can stand back a little bit. I hold my brush towards the back. I don't choke up on it.
I'm not painting like this. I usually hold it back here. I can keep my eye predominantly on my reference material. You should always be looking at your references, okay? How's everybody doing? Everybody thinking about it?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, you really do. You're working on it, aren't you? And so I actually, if I keep moving up on some of my
shapes here, I may be moving that whole body up a little bit. So like again, I'm still not so committed into this piece that I can't absolutely change the whole thing. And I'm saying that because I want everybody to realize it is just paint. And I didn't even put white down on my palette yet, and I will have to put some white down because it's important on this
at this stage. So does everybody have else is smart enough to have put white down on there? I'm gonna put some of this white.
Whoops.
Oh, that's a really good idea to label it.
Oh, when you get our age.
Yeah,
you got to.
I'm just stop there.
And I see, like, I can see some pinks in there, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little pink in there. Now, when I say pink, I just grabbed a little bit of, you can use your CAD and just add some white to it. And you know, it's funny, I'm going to go ahead and say it since there's a lot of words that are used in art. You know, people throw words around all the time, but they don't necessarily always know what they're saying. And I know what I'm trying to say is, like, for example, the word tint. What does the word tint mean?
Now on that, I'm sorry.
I'm asking, does anybody know what the word tint actually means?
T-E-M-P.
Tint. What's a tint?
T-I-N.
It's like one of those things you sleep in.
Yeah, a tint, yeah. Tint, by definition, is any hue or color with white in it. Pink is a tint of red, yes? Okay, a shade. A shade, what's a shade?
Probably something with
dark in it.
A shade is any color with black in it. What's a tone? See? You didn't know there was going to be a test today. A tone is any hue or color with gray in it. So there's a lot of words that we use as artists, but if we're not using them correctly, you know, we just think, oh, it just means another version of that color. You'll hear people say, oh, I love her shirt. It's a lovely shade of blue. When maybe perhaps the shirt is turquoise. Well, turquoise is not a shade. So, I know, it seems nitpicky, but when we're talking, you know, as we're painting and, you know, I'm going to say things, I want you to understand that when I'm saying it, I want you to understand actually what I meant. That when I say, you know, this is a tint, it has white in it. So that's why I said here I'm painting and I don't even have white on my palette.
On your pink, did you just mix the white with the light red?
Yeah, that will work.
Okay.
You can actually, I am taking my actual medium cadmium just because I don't have cadmium light on mine, and it seems to be doing just fine. I'm also going to start sectioning out areas of this bird's body, and so I am just kind of very loosely putting this in, folks. There is nothing at this point that is written in stone yet.
What cadmium red are you using?
I have
cadmium medium.
Medium. Okay. Does that have
And I may actually use cadmium and pyrrole red interchangeably. Pyrrole red is very much like cadmium in its the amount of pigment it has. It's very highly pigmented, but it's also safe. I have them right here side by side, and the pyrrole it's a little wetter, and it actually has maybe a little
more oil, but it pigments in the colors. Basically, it works very much like cadmium for me. So now,
is it have a based on your vocabulary? It looks like it's got a gray tone to it, or some violet.
This is my cadmium, and this is my pyrrole.
Yeah, I mean, just on the canvas, it looks like there's some violet in it.
Well,
or it's toned down with some gray.
Well, I have white in it, and the titanium white does have an opacity to it.
Okay.
And maybe it's not that it's transparent. Yeah. I'm going to grab a little bit of the alizarin. Nope, that's not it.
And I have another question. You're not mixing the paints with any kind of medium, right?
I have, on my palette, I have my paint thinner, and I also have my linseed oil.
Oh, okay.
I've really not dipped in linseed yet because I'm not to that place.
Okay.
I'm thinning my paint down just a little bit just because
I am still what I consider in the blocking in stage. Now, I just got a cool version of a color. And when I say cool, like alizarin is a cool red. And I am shading where I have layers. I'm putting in shadows and shading with a cooler color. I'm not using black. I think I always find that interesting. A lot of people think that, well,
you know, if I want to shade it down, I might have to add some black to it. Well, no. Yeah, if you're adding a shade, you are adding black. But if you're trying to cool down a shadowed area, you don't always have to use black. And I'm just kind of I'm just wanting to get the basis of, you know, and I see that there's shadows underneath the bird here, you know, where you know, maybe the light is coming in from up here. That's why we have this beautiful reflection below. So I'm actually putting in some of my cooler values in now. Just trying to kind of see what I've got here. I'm not doing any detail yet. There is no detail going in, but I'm creating my dark places, my dark values. And any of my students will hear me. If they hear anything in their sleep.
What would Sue do?
What would Sue do? Well, after they snap their little bracelet that they wear on their wrist, what would Sue do? They will hear me say over and over in their head, dark values, dark values, dark values. Dark values, please. So I'm putting some dark values in. I see there's quite a few here in the head of the bird, but I'm still so far from doing anything, you know, the major stuff here. And I am wiping my brush off like a crazy woman. And so it's okay if you just keep wiping your brush. If you don't want to use your paint thinner, you won't hurt my feelings. As long as your brush is clean, I don't care how it
happens. But the reason I like to have your brush clean, and if you look at if you can see up at the screen, when I am going up to the point of my dark values, but I am not running my brush through them. And the reason I'm not is because I'm trying to keep my CADs clean. And you're gonna see that I may actually move some of the neck up. I may, I'm still working on the shape here. How's everybody doing? It's quiet in here. Golly.
Buddy's doing fantastic,
Yeah.
he said.
I see that. I
do
see
better
that.
to watch you and then go back.
It's okay. People learn. I learn a lot by watching others, and I get it. I really do. So it's quite all right. I had the opportunity to paint in Waynesville at one of the galleries that carries my work about a couple weekends ago, and it's fun to do exercises where you test yourself. And I managed to complete 3 pieces in 2 days. And I painted Friday night from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then I painted Saturday from 11 to 4. And during that time, I managed to knock out 3 pieces.
Were you not dead?
I'm sorry?
Was you not dead tired?
I talk to people the whole time, and I don't mind doing that. I love doing it. If you haven't figured out, I like people, and I like talking to people, and
You like teaching?
and I do like teaching. I like to see people get excited about something like
If
this.
they're interested, you're there.
That's it, and it makes a big difference. And it just was fun, and it was just it was engaging. That's what it was. It helped me. I get to engage with people and nice people that actually ended up buying my work. So that was good too. I actually did a little raccoon piece while I was there, and that little raccoon piece went home with somebody. It was a raccoon piece.
I love those little raccoon pieces you were doing.
Well, in North Carolina, they can't seem to get enough of the raccoons.
Oh my gosh, I know. Well, especially that one, the with the blue background, that turquoise blue. Is
That little guy's still there.
Oh my gosh.
The person who bought my piece, they bought the piece that I was working on when I was there.
I personally love your turkey vulture.
And I'm surprised my turkey vulture's still here. I would have thought that somebody would have bought it already.
He is there.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more tail in. And I'm feeling pretty good about where this is. Sorry. Okay, and I'm going to put, now I've got a bill, right? This bird has black in his bill, but I'm actually going to use I'm going to put in his bill, but even instead of using black, straight on black, I'm going to use French ultramarine and just a little bit of, I think what black I have is, I think mine is actually ivory black because that's what I have, even though that's not the color I prefer. And I may actually, when I'm working, I can see that I get a little bit smaller sometimes.
But you had the ultramarine burn
No, I used for a friend ultramarine blue and a little bit of ivory black.
ivory black.
And I'm just putting some of that bill in. And I keep wiping my brush because I do like to wipe my brush off. Come on, Sue. What brush is this one? It's a sable. I don't usually use sables for this kind of job. I don't know how this little guy got in the mix, but he did. Okay. There is a color that's very salmony. And to make my salmon color, like I see it in this bird's bill, if you have vermilion, awesome. If you don't, cadmium and a little bit of the orange with white will make that salmon color for you. I just want to put that, just kind of get that in there. And where I have white, like you see the white areas on this bird's bill, I'm actually mixing a little bit of King's Blue, which is a very light blue, with white. I don't like and I may, because if you understand your color theory, if you're trying to make an interesting gray, it's nice to use complementary colors. So in the case of blue, what's our complement?
Orange.
Yes. So I'm mixing a little bit of orange and King's Blue and white to get just kind of an interesting gray color. And, you know, because I know I will be layering color, I'm putting this in. It will look kind of grayish purple, almost kind of.
King's Blue.
I used King's Blue, orange, whatever orange you have on your palette, and white. It will almost look kind of purplish, but that's okay.
What blue was that?
I used King's Blue. This is King's Blue.
King's Blue.
King's Blue in some other brands of paint has been called other things. I saw, what was it called? Not Royal Blue, that wasn't the color. It was just another color name, and I thought, oh, that looks just like King's Blue to me, but it's oftentimes called King's Blue. This happens to be Michael Harding's King's Blue.
Real pretty Portland blue that does.
I like Portland Blue too. I like Portland Grays. Gamblin's brand makes a lot of Portlands. Of course, you know, that's where they're located. Or actually, are they located in Oregon? I think, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to put that in there. And I'm going to go a little bit whiter up on the top, around the edges. And you're probably thinking, but I thought you always do your backgrounds first, and that's usually what I do. But in this case, I needed to put this in so I can see it. I'm trying not to go too impasto, guys. It's real easy to want to when you're working with white paint. Because I usually, that's my instinct, is to go thick on with my whites, but try not to if you can help it, because when this dries and you end up changing something later, you're going to be like, ah, now I have this dried out paint rim that I don't know what I can't get rid of. Funny story about that. I had done a painting. I was at a show and I was bored. So I painted, and it was just something I was doing, and I was working on a painting of a red wolf. Well, that piece, I ended up doing a show, months down the road, in Virginia at a university, and so they had, all my work was moved to this university, and that's not the right color. And they came, which was awesome, because they came and picked up all my work, did the installation. They invited me to come for the opening, and they had me do a lecture, and then they would even, after a month or whatever time that show was up, they would even bring it back to my studio. That's the best situation I've ever had to have a show. But anyway. So I'm out in an area in Virginia where they don't know me from Adam. They don't know me. And so it was fun to go to the show and nobody know who you were prior at the opening. And they had all these students of art that was at this university, and there was professors, of art that was there with them. And I'm a fly on the wall because I can listen to people critique my work and they don't know I'm standing right behind them. So there was this painting I did of this wolf that I did very quickly, and it was one of those things I just kind of did it, and I had all where I had painted it and had the muzzle of the animal in the painting, I had to refine it. But unfortunately for me, the paint had already dried. Instead of scraping it off, I just painted over it. So you can still see that little ghosty rim of the dried paint that was underneath where I covered it up. So the professor and the student are looking at this piece, and the student said, "What is that right there?" And the professor says, "Well, that's where the artist messed up." and didn't. I said, and I just walked in behind him. I said, "Ew, That's horrible. I said,
What kind of person just goes to a show and leaves it like that? And he looked at me like, what? You should, they could be here. You might not know. They're probably going to hear you talk. So then when I got up to do the lecture, the guy was standing. He was right on the front row, and he just started laughing when he realized it was me that he said that. And I said, yeah. And some students, some people will even leave work.
and it's such a way that you can see their mistakes. But it was kind of funny just to see his expression when he was like, oh no. I like to do that.
He's saying I got caught.
Well, you know what? He was exactly right. I mean, what he was saying, it wasn't like he was saying anything that wasn't true. He was telling the truth, unfortunately. So, learn from my mistakes. Don't go to impasto, because if you make a mistake and it dries, it's going to be there for a while. But again, we're learning from this piece, yes? So it's okay if we make some mistakes. Please feel free, because I know I'll be doing it. So, all right, I am going in again some more dark values. I'm going underneath the bird here a little bit. I am going to just kind of solidifying some of the areas here on the actual body of this bird. How's everybody doing? It's okay. Slow's all right. Slow and steady, right? Wins the race, so we're good.
So for all those lucky people who do have cadmium light, I applaud you, and I'm actually kind of jealous of you probably today.
You can use some.
Well, thank you, and I may hit you up. We'll see how it goes here. All right, I am going to leave this bird at this state right here, and I'm going to walk around, see how everybody's doing, and I'm going to first get a sip of tea.
Yes.
How we doing? Oh, no, that looks pretty. Now you're doing okay.
You're doing okay.
Some darker values, she said.
I'm glad you at least can see. Now be careful about outlining. I will call you out on this right here. See how it looks like you're just outlining it? Your stroke, and I'm going to show you, because is this a white tip brush or does it have white paint in it? Okay. I don't want any white paint on this part. Let's see here. Let me show you. So on your stroke, no, honey, you're good. The feathers they're going to grow this way. So make sure that if you're going to, that you don't look like you're outlining it. You want to blend that edge out like this. Same here. That everything. If you're looking at your you're giggling. What's going on?
We just switched the camera over so it shows.
It caught us. I was thinking, I'm making sure my shirt's up, right? I'm not like giving you a little show here to make sure I'm good, Matt. Make sure you're not.
I didn't even see the one.
YouTube probably get mad about that.
Well, you've got this section here, and you can go with your cooler value, but see if you're looking at kind of, it has more like this.
So you can get that darker value here. You're doing really well with your placement. Just make sure your stroke is a little bit going in the direction. Feathery. I want to say hairy, but I know it's not hair, right? It's feathery.
Right there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's okay. You're doing all right. It looks like you're using a little bit too much paint thinner because I can see right through it.
Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead and get your paint in. Don't be afraid. Be conscious of and I was just going to show Faye. The stroke is going to be feathery. So if you're going,
if you're going with the cool underneath, you're gonna. This brush is too soft. You probably do have a. Well, but you see this stroke. If you're comfortable with
this brush, I'm not going to tell you can't use it. Okay. But it's just I'm like trying to get that effect, and I can't do it. Yeah. But you're gonna you want your stroke to be like that. Okay. To be more feathery. and look at wherever the cool values are. These are very dark, intense pictures. I would go in with more of your CAD color in here. And so if it looks like this, it's feathery, right? You can see it. It looks like flames almost.
It does.
So think about it that way, and think about it in those terms. It's kind of, you don't, go in a little bit thicker with your paint. Don't get too watery.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess I've got so much.
I know, but you're okay. Just keep, and remember the structure too. Okay, look at you. Yours is the most unique. I have to say that, and I really, it's different, and I like how it's different. And it's almost impressionistic, but I don't know. Now I just like it. It's different. Now his neck is a little too thin. He's got a really skinny neck, so you're gonna want to fatten his neck up a little bit. I think your strokes. I just like how your color is. I don't know. There's something about yours that is just beautiful and unique to me. But what kind of brush are you using? A really small brush. All these nice little. Ooh, so you like these too? You've got those too. Yeah, you did. That's pretty good. Now look at the size of the neck. The neck needs to be thickened out a little bit. Just make sure you're using more paint. Make sure you're using your stroke in the direction that the feathers are growing. So if you're going to do your cools down here, use that stroke that's going to cool in the direction that the feathers are growing. And you can bring it down. See how much thicker you've got to get some weight in this now. But I'm going to let you do it. But as long as you're doing, I think yours is. This is me. I don't want to change the way you're painting. Okay. Because the way yours is, it's pretty to me. It's delightful. It's not the way I'm doing it though. I'm just telling you that it's going to be a lot different. But it's okay. If you're able to actually get the basic structure in and make sure your strokes are going in the direction that the feathers are growing, so you can see almost like little clumps of flames or something. You see the shapes. Your brush stroke is going to go with that. Not just here's dark paint, or here's light paint. Be careful about your highlights too soon. Okay? But I like how yours is going. I'm not going to change your style. Okay? Because unless you say, oh, but this is not what I want. Tell me what you want, Larry. Are you going to tell me? Okay. Okay. Well, that's pretty. Now, I like your soft, you definitely went down with your stroke here. That's what I like. And I like that you're going in with the way the feathers are growing. I don't really have anything to add. We're going to get in here with the other colors here in a minute. I'm going to want to start getting some of that background and intensity. So I'm probably going to jump off of my bird and start working on my background. So, but I want you to get your bird to where you're happy with it. Not saying it's going to be finished. Just get it blocked in, and you're about there. Look at your intensity you've got a lot more intensity of colors. Yours is looking really interesting. I like.
Should I put it a little more dark down in this area?
Yeah, but just use your CADs.
Okay.
And you're good shape. Okay. You're still getting yours blocked in, and it's looking good. Yeah. And I like that you can kind of have your hairy stroke. Once you get your base coat down for this, and you go in with your cooler values, just go with your alizarin down through here. Yeah. Look at this neck is a little bit too skinny. You may want to fatten it up just a little bit.
Okay. We've been, the canvas blanket for the alizarin, would you go ahead and do the
I would put the CAD down first and then the alizarin underneath it, under this area here. The reason I said that's usually reverse of how I normally do it, but only because I'm trying to keep the CADs as pure as I can, because we will go back and highlight with the CADs later, but I like to keep my CADs as red as I can, as bright as I can. So, yeah.
Okay, like that you should do the darks first.
And that's how I paint it, so I do the darks first.
Alizarin under it, not over it, correct? In other words, go ahead and do it.
Do it in the CAD first and then put the alizarin over it.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, look at you.
So I can get fussed back.
No, I'm not gonna fuss. I'm not gonna fuss. But now I want you to look at your reference for a second. All right.
So here's your reference, and you see you're looking at how this is dark, and we have these shapes in here.
He's
Right
got a
now-
little thick, hasn't he?
No, actually, I think is this your brush you're using? Let me just say here, I think he's looking pretty good. You know, you do have kind of angles here, and they're supposed to be here. You've got them. Yeah, you're doing fine. So here's your red. So you're going to go in here with and start getting the dark values in here. Are you working with this one today? Is this too soft for you?
It is. I was looking at my other brushes.
You use your use this. Use your,
look like they
is it?
Well, this
yeah.
is the soft.
This is a little
So that-
soft. This is great,
yes,
great
I
for
love
blending, but it's
that.
not good for
I love
getting
it.
this. But you're gonna want, and if you need to, I'm trying to do it with this, and it's not doing what I want it to do. Yeah, this is the brush. I'm gonna try to get a little bit darker in here. So you can get your shape, and then if by leaving your CADs alone, you're gonna have this is gonna be the lighter area.
My husband still owns, well, he still works.
And so this is gonna get thicker through here. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. See, now he's starting to get a little bit of shape, but see, we're leaving this color alone right now.
Okay.
And we're just kind of, I like, she's looking over.
I'm cheating.
She's cheating. That's cute. But you want to also make sure you have your little hairy, feathery stroke. You can see it's here too. But that's the idea. You're doing it, girl. Just get your dark values.
Okay. Thank you.
I've got a montage of this going on because I'm not sure how the feathers are. Is it down here, over there, up there,
Kinda, yeah.
over down?
Just look at it in sections. If you have your eyes in, how many people squint when they paint? Yay!
Actually, that reminds me I need to put my eyes on.
Everybody should be squinting, okay? Squinting is a good thing.
Oh, I can see now.
Like, okay, no, I always say, I take my glasses off when I'm doing a lot of the early stages. When I do not need to see detail, I take my glasses off. So when you're looking at your reference and you're looking at your painting, you should be squinting so you don't see the detail. Only see what you have to see.
Are there any colors that would look better?
Well, what you're doing this and you're getting this in. Make sure I know everybody wants to do their necks really skinny, and I think your neck is not too bad. This is going to come up a little bit higher here. See how there's like it comes up and then it goes over, and there's like an angles. It's not like it's not like a drain. It's not round. It's angled. Look at that. It's like it goes and then it goes and then it goes. There's not a lot of smoothness to that.
Gotcha.
So you need to have some little bit more angles, but you got the idea.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then working on the feathers. Is this head's bigger?
Yeah, it's going to be okay. You'll probably shrink it down when you start adding your dark colors in,
Gotcha.
your background colors, but I think it's okay.
So right now my big challenge is working
Yeah.
on the body.
And working through the body, but you're going to want to get that neck fixed.
Really still. Oh, it's too S.
Yeah, you got to get some angles in there, but you can also do that with your green paint too.
I like that you have beans in here, because that makes me. I think it's funny. All right.
I saw this from
Yes.
I'm lost.
Okay. Where are you lost? Are you in the weeds?
Yeah.
Are you in the weeds?
I think she's in the poison ivy.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, let me help you. I'll up, and I'll show you. I'll jump in here. Let me see what brushes you got. Oh, you got some pretty brushes. What am I sitting on? Oh, that's what I see too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I'm gonna sit over here. Okay, let me see what we got here.
When you get older, you think of everything.
Yeah. You get smarter, don't you?
Yeah, everything's for comfort.
There we go.
I like this pyro.
Yeah.
I never did find that color. I just thought the pyro.
The Chiral, I don't always see it, and it's just something I use instead of, so what I'm doing, I'm just kind of adding some of the dark values.
Okay.
His body changed a little bit in shape here, so I don't know where we were before, but it's okay, we'll deal with it. Who's getting hungry? Just curious.
We stay hungry.
Stay hungry. Matt and I stopped and we went to McDonald's on the way in. And,
Where are you staying? Oh, did you come this morning?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
what time did y'all leave?
It's a little after 7. It was about 7:15. No, not too bad. Okay, so you have, what I was trying to do initially in the beginning is just get a base of where everything's going. So you can see that there's areas like you've got this area here, and you kind of did that here. We're going to go ahead and well, she must be awesome.
She is.
Got a good name. That's for sure.
Really?
I have a student. I have one of my students' name is Suzanne, and she's really fun too.
My daughter's
Funny what they
Suzanne and her son just joined the Marines this week.
Oh wow.
And she's basket case right now, but.
Oh yeah. I can imagine.
You can, you're very good.
Does your husband like art stuff? Like is he particular?
Oh my heavens, I have been working on these guitars.
Yeah.
Are you still working on
I'm
guitars?
still working on these guitars, and it's because I have a husband who is an amateur musician, but who is very OCD.
He's got to make sure that it's exactly
And he's
right.
like, the headstock's not right. It's the wrong model. I'm like,
I see.
Yeah.
so he's kind of made it miserable.
I'm just getting
Gotcha.
it yours
Yeah.
blocked into the see. I'm seeing the light areas here.
Right, right.
And I'm just going to use that stroke. Even though we're going to
Not
have to.
anatomically correct.
Now the top of the bird, it's very
It's
light,
good to me.
isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's very light. I think it was.
So I'm just going to put some of this. What is this? Is this your linseed? Even though I told you I don't always use it, but I just wanted to thin it out without.
Didn't so much.
Yeah. You can.
Take that off, Michael. Take that off. Okay.
See, my eyes are like squinty. They're squinty, squinty, squinty.
I'm looking.
I like to keep it squinty. And we're gonna probably change the shape a little bit. We're gonna bring it down a little bit.
Okay.
You had a good back though.
Yeah.
You were one of the. You had. You know, it's funny how everybody has their
Things that are like, you had gotten the butt back nice and elevated. You went with the egg shape. We're gonna just bring it down just a little bit though. And I know you see this in here. I'm just gonna. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of other stuff going on in here. Oopsie. Let's get that in there. I love the internal conversations that I hear in people. It's going good. It's going good. All right, we're good.
Getting it.
We're getting it. It's going. It's going.
I'm just gonna apologize every time for self-talk.
No, you know what? Never apologize. If you talk to yourself, chances are you're probably getting some pretty good advice most of the time. I find that the conversations I have with myself are
Very helpful.
they're helpful and entertaining.
My daughter was asking me the other day if I talked to myself when I painted, and I thought about it,
And then I went in and I started painting and I started talking to myself. So
Now you can't, now you won't shut up, right?
That's right.
Yeah, she's pretty good. She does talk to me a lot, but oh my God, she won't shut up. That's usually my problem. I just talk and talk and talk. You know, I grew up during the time, you know, a child of the 70s, and back when we would travel places, my sister used to get car sick. So my parents would give her Dramamine to keep her from getting sick.
Right.
I didn't get car sick, but I got Dramamine too because I wouldn't shut up. So they were like, yeah, Susie, you need to have your Dramamine too. But why?
In this day and age, I'd say abuse.
Yeah, sure. But I think it was called peace of mind.
Yeah.
Or peace.
In the car with the two kids.
I don't think I ever drugged my children. I always heard a lot of parents that gave their kids Benadryl.
I used to do that to my dog all the time too.
But I don't think I ever drugged my kids. They were usually pretty good.
Jack had the sniffles or something, and
She told me
I didn't give him Benadryl, and we went to Dollar
Oh my gosh.
He said, thanks for taking Dollywood on
You're
this
live,
show
don't forget that.
We go in the show and he'd knock out.
Slept through it.
What are you saying over there? I swear I didn't drug my children. Much. Actually, Matt was the kid that cried a lot.
Maybe he did get drugged.
No, he didn't. He probably thought about it, but I just made a point to get to point A and point B as fast as I could. Okay, you're in a good place. You're in a good place.
What about this big here?
Okay. There's angles. I think a lot of folks are afraid to put the angles in. If this comes down to here, and then you see that there's it kind of loops up, and it goes down like this.
Yeah. And then it's got white.
We're going to go ahead and clean up that.
I just have white so I can get my red on it. Sue would say that was wasteful.
What would you say?
It was wasteful.
Wasteful.
Yeah, I threw away my towels because I kept getting red on my fingers.
Well, I throw out towels too. I don't wash the towels. Oh my goodness.
I have baby wipes if anybody
I'm
needs.
sorry, hang on. This may be Los Angeles. I don't know. I have they're doing a piece on me in the Western Art Collector magazine, and so I have to. I said, look, I'll be in a workshop. I need to get this taken care of, and I tried to do as much of it yesterday because I had, did this at the last minute, and which is usually how I do things, and so I was, and so if it's Arizona, I have to take the call. Arizona, but it's not LA, so I'm good. All right, I think we're okay here. Okay. So I am going to jump on. Is everybody okay? Everybody just moving along here? We're clicking along. Oh, look at this. Now, what do you do with this? Is this to hold your brushes?
Yeah, no.
Paint. Look at that. What a clever thing. I like that. Who made this for you?
I got it at the Bob Ross classes down in New Smyrna. But now some of them is
Gamblin
different.
is too little.
Yeah. Well,
Gamblin has, and Richardson, you'll die. Richardson, you won't be able to.
It's really made just for the Bob Ross.
Yeah.
So.
Isn't he a clever? Isn't that a clever thing?
But it is nice when you're just using that.
Okay.
Well, why do you say that? He went to Alexandria, and Alexandria taught him how to paint, and he just did variation with his work.
Now the paint colors to go in my thing are all Bob Ross. So.
Yeah.
How are we doing? Does anybody have any big questions yet? We're good? Okay, I'm going to jump into the background a little bit. And
I do have one question before you start. That's not looking right. This little thing right, the mouth part.
Right.
Is that too high, too low?
it's probably needs to be start about here.
Right here.
Yeah, put it back up there. Put it on your easel. There we
I don't even
go.
know which way.
Actually, it's probably about right, yeah. You're using a really little brush.
Yeah, I got that just for that.
Okay. Okay. Hey Matt, how are we doing on
Is
Facebook?
anybody looking at it?
Yeah, there was at 1.5 people watching.
Oh, good.
Okay. All right, I'm going to start into the background a little bit because we can always come back. And we're going to get this to a place today. We'll try to take a break at 1 o'clock if that's good with you, and everybody can go grab a bite to eat. We're going to get this to that point, then we're going to switch over to the other piece, okay? So when we come back, we're going to paint on the Impala. So we're going to
just get this to a certain place. I think that's what we're going to do, unless it gets to where it obviously we need it to be wet to do some blending. I want to start getting some of the background in, and if it means that we need to work on this longer, we will when we come back to. We'll just see how it goes. We're winging it. It's because it's a bird.
We're winging it.
Yeah,
got that right.
Right.
Okay, yeah, because I'm just that clever. And I do this. This is what I do with mine. I just flip it over. Change it to a different color. Because if you're like me and you wipe your brushes a lot, sometimes you end up wiping it and getting the color that you're trying, some other color, and then you use it and then you're like, ah!
Yeah.
So yeah, then there's that. I'm going to go ahead and start with a phthalo. I'm going to start working in the upper left-hand corner of the painting.
But you're using a big brush.
And I'm using a big brush. And I'm actually adding a lot of cool dark values. So I'm taking the green, and again, it's just as long as it's dark. I don't want it to be so thin though that it, and I'm not going to worry about painting the edges. Now I think it was brought up that the demos will be given out at the end. My demo will be given to somebody.
Oh, yeah.
So I am going to try to do my demo as nicely as I can so that whomever gets to have the demo will have a nice piece. We will just do it kind of like a drawing, and we'll see who ends up with it. Now I'm just using a very light stroke, and I think what I'm going to do is I am going to add some browns because I don't have any browns on my palette.
So what colors are those again?
I mean, actually using a combination of a lot of colors. It's mostly, I'm throwing down some sap green and phthalo green, and I added some blues to it, and it wasn't doing it for me. So now I'm adding some, I have some raw umber, and I need some burnt umber, but I didn't know.
And you're using your large brush.
I am. Anytime you're working and you have large areas, switch to a larger brush. It's going to save you some time. I mean, that's why we have them. So do switch around a little bit. And it's funny because I may want to keep working. I'm looking at my palette, and I know what we're going to get into on the Impala piece. And I'm thinking, I don't want to get rid of my cats. We may work on this a little bit more today. I'm just going to go ahead and get my coverage in, and I'm cutting in around my bird. This is the opportunity, if you see that you need to make corrections on your shape of your bird, when you're looking at your negative space, it's okay. It's okay to make corrections even now.
So why did you decide on the flamingo, buddy?
What?
Why did you decide on the flamingo?
Oh,
The colors?
that and I lived in Aruba and used to
Oh,
go
yeah,
on air quite often. And
You used to live in
they're pretty common
Aruba?
there.
How exciting.
He taught scuba diving or something, didn't you?
Yeah.
How exciting. Now I happen to see in the original reference, it's not in my painting, there seems to be some other greeny, lighter greens. I'm adding a little bit of sap green to my mixture that I started with, and a little bit of, believe it or not, the King's Blue. Does everybody have King's Blue here? If you don't, it's okay.
I really don't.
You don't have to. You can just add a little bit of white if you want to. If you want your background to look like the reference versus the painting that I did,
I'm okay with whatever color you want to go with. Because initially this is going to be very loose. When I say, and one of the things that makes this a kind of an effective piece, can anybody tell me what we're doing here that creates the pop? Yes,
complementary colors. So when we're working basically with reds and greens here, right, we're creating that instant pop. And that's partly why this becomes such a cool, successful piece. I want to add some more color, more color, more color. Now the brushes I'm using today, these are Hamburgs. These are a combination of synthetic and natural. They're synthetic, or they're mongoose, I guess. They're really pretty neat little brushes, but this brush is almost too soft for the job. I probably should be using a boar bristle, and I think that was what I recommended, and anybody wanted to get that the Pro Strokes are pretty neat brushes. I do like them for just a workhorse brush. The Power Krill, which they'll tell you, like if you're ordering your brushes from Jerry's, they'll say for acrylic use, but I use them for oils, and I like them. It's usually what I have my students get.
You can do that.
Who said that?
So you can use some acrylic brushes for oils?
Sure. It's just for a full-bodied paint. Oftentimes, like for example, when I'm doing portrait work, I use a lot of sables. Well, sables are oftentimes what a lot of watercolor people use, right? So, and I switched colors. I'm being very conscious of my color shifts. I all of a sudden went to a warmer green down below the bird. I'm seeing those colors. So I added a little bit of gold green to my mixture that I already started with. So I might just warm it up in some areas. We're going to I want to get my bird sort of blocked in here. So I may actually see where I'm going to end up getting thicker paint. My neck may end up getting thicker on my bird.
Do you ever use Rosemary's brushes?
I do. Actually, I have several of hers with me today, I'm sure.
Oh, she coveted them for quite a while.
Yeah, I do like Rosemary's, but you know what? I'm going to say something. As much as I do love her brushes, and no, it's a Hamburg. There's some I want to try of hers. I can say that some of my mongoose brushes that I've bought, they don't hold up as well as I would wish they were. You know, and it's not that her brushes are that much more expensive than some of the other, you know. I do like her brushes. I'm probably going to go with some of
Oh, I was having to put the old little readers on.
Oh, I get it.
Okay, so what happens when you accidentally go into your bird?
Don't worry.
Okay.
Just don't go back in there. Just don't do that again.
Don't do it again.
Just you'll be able to take it off or just cover it up. Now I'm kind of playing around some areas. I haven't even put the legs in yet. And I'm trying to just work into areas where I can start working on the reflection. One of the things that Larry brought up, which I thought good observation, was that on my painting here, I didn't quite have it lined up straight, the reflection, as much as it should be. You know, think of the reflection as a mirror image. So I'm not going to go like, okay, you're off. You know, kind of like what Larry did to me. Oh my God, your angles are off. But he was exactly right. He was exactly right. The angle was a little bit off, but I'm trying to give an area where I can see where the reflection of the bird is going to go. And so again, my eyes are squinting. I'm squinting. I'm squinting, squinting, squinting. And I liked something else that Larry did. And I'm sorry, Larry, I keep picking on you here. He's bringing his piece all together at once, which I like. Not everybody does that, and I think his is a different approach. And I liked that. I just added a little bit of the lighter. If you don't have King's Blue, if you have any of your blues and add white to it, go ahead and make a tint of one of your blues, and it will blend with your greens, and it's going to look just like that. I mean, it'll be just a fine color there. And I just wanted to put that one in, but I'm going to have to start putting in some of the reflective aspects here. Between the bird's legs, I haven't painted my bird's legs in, but I'm just going to paint the space between his legs. And I will have to get those in. Does anybody else ever use scrapers, paint scrapers when they work?
Yes.
Robel tool.
Not very much.
I don't know, is that what it's called, a Robel tool?
Yeah, Robel tool, that's what I use.
And it's called a Robel tool? I have never known.
I call it a rub out.
Because these are often used for people who sculpt.
Signing too.
Yeah, and I'll sign with these too sometimes, if it allows for that. A Robel tool, that's what, I didn't know that. And is it named after somebody? Is Robel?
It says a rub out, where you rub out the.
Oh, you said rub out tool.
Yeah, no, here.
Oh, I thought you were calling it.
R-U-B-O-U-T.
Oh, I gotcha. I thought you were calling it a Robel tool.
No, rub out.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
I'm taking enunciation lessons too with my paint.
Well, it's just that I
It's a southern thing.
Okay. Now, were you born in the South?
Yeah.
Where were you born?
Memphis, Tennessee.
But he's really interesting. He's been to Japan for, how long did you stay in Japan? How long did you stay in Japan?
6 months.
Just 6 months? I
Yeah.
thought you was longer than that.
No.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and try to get some of my reflective light in. Know that it's not going to be straight. It's going to be wiggly. I want you to have a loose stroke. Don't be, but Larry was right. It's good to think of it as a mirror and try to line up your reflection, if you will. If you need to use your paintbrush is an amazing tool. Not only does it apply paint, not only can it take paint off or move paint, but you can actually use it to kind of eyeball things and look at angles. And I oftentimes will say, check your angles, check your angles. And I am going to start laying some of this color down. And I'm going to check my angles. Now I'm using a very horizontal stroke, okay, when I'm doing this. I'm keeping it almost like it's, if you can see what I'm doing, I'm keeping it, side to side. Obviously, we're not going to get quite all the reflection in, but we'll get a lot of it in. I need to get those legs in. Now, keep in mind, those legs are actually quite cool when you consider the temperature of the bird. And so this is the beauty of working off an iPad. I like to blow it out. I'm going to use the alizarin and some white and a little bit of umber, brown umber, your burnt or actually raw umber, just to give this kind of a look for where this, it's going to seem strange at first. It's not going to look exactly right. It sure doesn't look right at all. I'm going to go a lot lighter and see if that, here we go. I want a Oh, no wonder, that's why. It wasn't the right color. That would explain it. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. I thought I was in the right place. Now, here's I'm already seeing a problem in my piece, but it's all right. I'm gonna go with it. The bill. The bill and the feet, because of the way the bird works, he runs his, he's got this beautiful bend. It's like God knows exactly what he's doing when he designs things. This bird has this bend in his bill, and he runs it back and forth like a sieve. He's got little tiny grooves on the sides. That's almost like baleen in a whale. And he's able to get little tiny shrimp, and he'll move that head side to side. So it's usually right at the surface. His legs and his bill should almost be level, the same height. I made his legs too long. They should stop at the point where his, so the other part is the reflection. And you'll see that because it's reflection, it should be bent. Here it's straight. And I was going in the wrong direction. I just wanted to bring that out because that's an observation, that's understanding why the bird's doing what it's doing. It runs that bill back and forth. So I just wanted to kind of...
Is it the top of the beak or the part?
Where the beak touches the water, or almost touches the water.
Okay.
That's where that's the water line where the legs come out of the water. Or it's right where the feet are in the water. It's where the little white part that shows up in here, right here. This little point right here.
Yeah.
And his bill, they should line up. And then this is the reflective aspect. So if I kept going in the direction I was going to go, I had his legs going to be too long. Were going to be too long, so I had to change the angle. Otherwise, because it would have been wrong. I hope I'm being an effective communicator instead of stumbling with my words. So forgive me.
I'm there with you. Stumble all the time.
We've got 5 watching right now. If you want to say something to them.
Oh, we have watchers. That's awesome. Hey, everybody.
I didn't know anyone would actually watch this.
I know. Somebody's actually interested. I just saw. Oh, they're watching. They're really watching. Who is it? Can we find out who's watching? Tell me.
Not really. No. I mean, I think Ann is.
Ann is. Hey, Ann. Mashburn.
Yeah.
Hey, Ann. That's my girl. How's the Chihuly piece coming?
They should be able to comment too, so if they have questions, they can.
Yes, and she's working on the Chihuly. She's one of my students that does. She is enamored by the work of Chihuly, and she's doing a beautiful piece, and it's a neat piece. And she's doing all kinds of reflections in hers, of all kinds of the glass. You know, if you're not familiar with who Chihuly's work. He's a glass blower, and he had a lot of work that was at Biltmore not too long ago.
So I did a glass blowing class in Asheville, and I said, oh my gosh, like so Chihuly's like so amazing, and they said, and if you he doesn't really do his work, and if you look at it really close, it's not that good.
Wow, quite the sumptuous and.
I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're saying that. You wish you were Chihuly, dude.
But I mean that's true. He doesn't do all his work, but but a lot of artists that do installations and things, they actually do have others help them with.
Like putting it together.
Yeah, putting it together and maybe some of the technical part, but.
Well, I saw it at Biltmore. I thought it was stunning.
Oh, it was.
All of his pieces, and it really sad that they took it out because it looked like it belonged.
Yeah.
Like there.
But you know what? That's probably a true sense of how wonderful that work was, that it looked like it belonged.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to say. And I think Chihuly would love to know that.
Aww.
I think he would be very happy to know that.
Is this a person?
Chihuly?
Uh-huh.
Chihuly is an artist who I know you would recognize his work. He's very famous for some of the chandeliers that hang like in cruise ships and in fancy places. They're beautiful blown glass.
Disney Magic has it.
Vegas.
I would pull it up and you'd be like, okay, I know what you're talking about. You would say, oh, yeah, that's, I know this work. Okay, let me think here. All right, has anybody else got their legs in? A lot of people already had their legs in. I was a little bit late coming to the party.
That would be a negative on this Sunday.
That's a big negative. You know, and the funny thing is being mindful of the actual angles. I always want to do it wrong, but I'm trying not to. Try not to do it wrong. Trying to be good here. Does anybody have any questions? How we doing?
Not yet.
Yeah, you have no questions, do you? You're just watching. Let me get my other smaller brush. Sometimes you gotta switch to the smaller brushes.
I could remember what you're doing. I would just watch too. I couldn't remember it that long.
I'll come around here in just a few minutes and take a look, see. Okay. And don't always worry about, like, I would love it more if people would just, and you have to understand, when I'm talking and saying all these things, it reminds me of the same principles. So teaching is very helpful to me to be a better painter, because it reminds me sometimes of the basics.
I'm going to go to the bathroom and take a bath.
There you go. Are you still hot?
No, I've just got paint all over me somehow.
Somehow, yeah. I usually don't get it on there.
I'll get some of this other colors in here. But you know, by teaching, I call out things, and it's basic reminders to myself too. So know that it's helpful for me. How's everybody doing? Does anybody have any questions yet? I'll come around here in just a few.
Okay, so if you've got if you already painted over that spot where you're putting in the bill in the red, then what do you do?
Well, what I'm doing right now is I'm actually, are you talking about the reflection?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just moving, I'm looking at my reference, because if I don't, I will get myself into trouble big time here. And I'm still not sure I haven't already, but I am just, I have my eye mainly on my reference, and trying to move through it a little bit. I guess I don't know if I answered your question. You asked me.
I just don't know what my question is.
Well, and I'm not sure I do either. That's why I'm not sure how to answer it. I am doing the reflection, and the reflection should almost look like a mirrored image. Obviously, that's what a reflection is. It's an enantiomer, I suppose, of what we're looking at here. It's a lot brighter than what I'm doing. So I can tell you I am going to add a little bit of white. And I try not to add too much white if I can avoid it, just because I like the pureness of a lot of colors if I can have it, but it's not working. So I'm going to add the white. And the way you move your brush into paint matters. And when I say that, the actual direction of your stroke, kind of like I went around and was showing you which way the feathers grow to make sure it goes with the feathers. If you're making a color, say for example, I'm moving the cadmium into that green of the watercolor, So I'm using the reflection of the bird into the water. I am moving the cadmium into the green, not the green into the cadmium. And I will wipe my brush often. And the reason I'm wiping my brush is that I don't want to dirty up my paint by bringing the green into it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Sure.
What brush are you using right now?
I'm using a smaller brush. I'm using a smaller round. You know, the thing is, I could tell you what size it is, but it won't matter if it's not the same brand. But it's a round it's pretty small.
Okay.
Because I'm just working on some of these areas in here around the reflection, and it's pretty tight. Now, I usually will tell people, use the largest brush you can get by with, and as opposed to, I've had students, believe me, that just want to use little brushes. Yeah. You all know who you are. Little brushes are great for doing little work, but when you need to stretch it out a little bit, you really should use your largest brushes first. Again, I'm switching the direction of my paint, going from my cadmium into the green, and then wiping my brush in between so that I don't pull that green into my reflective cads on the bottom.
Too late.
Yeah. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. It's just paint, remember? We can change it. Oops, I did it too. Because I start getting greens in my wiping towel. I'm going to switch brushes again. And I don't want to use that one because it's got too much green in it. So I'm switching to another one. Because I can.
Unfortunately, I've still got the cover on it.
I can see that there. I've already messed up on that part, but we'll fix that.
How's Chase doing, Betty?
He's doing good. He had some heel problems that was, he spent 2 weeks painting in Georgia in a studio that had hardwood floors.
And he was with you?
And he couldn't, couldn't get traction, and he kind of hurt himself.
How old is he now?
He's 10.
It's hard to see our pets getting old.
Yeah.
I know.
My little dog comes to work with me every day, and she's 14.
What kind do you have?
She is a Poodle Bichon mix. She's right now she's 14 years I've had this dog, and she's never had fleas, and we have been dealing with fleas this time. First time in her life anyway. And so bless her heart, because I am not one to want to treat them with a lot of chemicals. So I gave her a flea bath and knocked most of it down, and so every now and then I've got to follow up again and do another round.
They say it Dawn works good.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I've not ever given my dogs a Dawn bath though.
No.
Are you tinting that?
Are
you tinting that?
I am tinting that. Listen, because he knows stuff now. He knows. He's got all the words now.
We're practicing.
Yeah. I am tinting now. I have. And so by tinting, what am I doing? Call it out. I want to hear it.
You have right.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to be ready for lunch, y'all. I don't know about you. I'm kind of getting there.
Where do you go to lunch around here?
Well, with this exit, it doesn't have a lot.
No.
It's got Shoney's and Scotty's Hamburger and
Shoney's is on the other side of the house, right?
no. Take a left. Well, you go down the red light, take a left, stay on that road, and Shoney's is right
down there?
Yeah.
One of the girls that works here told me
Well, the
that.
left goes across the freeway.
So for these strokes, you're
You
making.
go over the freeway.
You're making
Go
them
over the freeway, yeah, it's on the other side of the.
I am trying to keep my cadmiums clean, so I'm either going, I'm always going from cadmium out to green, I'm never going green into cadmium. Does that make sense? So whatever direction my cadmium paint is going, I'm going out to the green, then I wipe my brush off, because I don't want my, basically I'm just trying to keep the
Are
cads
these
clean.
loose strokes?
They are pretty loose strokes, because this is water at this point, so it's not, you kind of need it to be a little bit messy.
You have a question on the chat.
Oh, what's our question?
Bill Everett wants to know what the definition of tinting is.
Bill Everett is colorblind, FYI. Tell Bill it's just add any color with white in it, and he should know now. Yeah, he's somebody who says, I'd love to take your workshop, but I can't, I'm colorblind. And I like saying, well, you know what? We will do, is it griselle, or is that the word?
Oh, yeah.
Do everything in gray tone and work around his colorblindness, and then I'll teach him the
Burnt umber is good too, to just do and then do wipe outs.
right. That's
He could do that, yeah.
I feel like he's like some of my stuff on Facebook.
Yeah, Bill's all over my wall usually.
He's a good
Isn't that right, Bill? Is he still
He's a
listening?
good supporter.
He is a good supporter. I think Facebook is a wonderful thing because it does pull a lot of people in.
It has a back seat, but it's holding junk.
Now keep in mind, folks, when you're putting in your watercolors, you know what I'm talking about. You keep that stroke needs to be pretty horizontal. None of this, no up and down. It should all go in with a nice, see, now I just got cadmium into my green here. I always try to keep my colors as clean as I can.
Now, a lot of, all kinds of stuff like that going on.
Okay, got it.
How's everybody doing?
I'm thinking I may have homework.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. All right.
Bill says, sounds like a plan. I'm lost with the colors you are using. Oh, you're better than Bob Ross.
No, thanks. Thanks, Bill. And I think that's interesting because there's different art for everybody. I think Bob Ross was one of those people who made painting applicable to anyone.
Right.
And I think that was a beautiful thing. And from what I understand, he was a beautiful man. He donated his time. He didn't make a lot of money. He just loved what he did. And he shared it with others and made it so other people can, maybe people who never thought they could paint. All right, I'm going to come around here in just a few. Take a look-see. So you better hurry, buddy, and get back to your chair so that I can look at
And
what you
hurry
did.
and get caught up.
Yeah, he's got it. Now, I won't tease because actually a lot of folks learn by watching, and I do. I'm one of those people.
Me too. Directions, I get lost if I have to read them.
I do too. That's because you're a visual person. Most
And
artists
I'm
are.
dyslexic too, so that's.
Are you?
Me too.
She's painted upside down.
Who's painting upside down? Oh.
I couldn't figure out how to do it.
But that's okay. I love it because that's a great tool for seeing where you're at by turning it upside down, and then you can look and say, "Oh, I'm so off," when you thought it was looking pretty good, right?
Thanks for telling on me. You're ratting me out.
Oh no, that's not right. No, that's a good thing. That's a good move. I have some colors in on my. I feel like I've got a pretty good application, although I know I've got to get a lot more in. But I'm feeling pretty good so far where this is going. I'm going to turn this off for a second and walk around and look where we're at.
Okay.
Oh, Rusty, you're doing pretty good. Good? You're getting it. Yeah, keep on. You just keep on and you just keep putting more and more paint down. I like your intensity of your color, by the way. That's good.
Yeah, her colors.
Yeah, those are nice
Beautiful.
colors.
Beautiful,
I
beautiful.
like that. Hi there. Look at you.
It's like a rooster.
You have a very, your other paintings, are they impressionistic looking?
Yeah.
What do they look like? Do you have them on your phone? I know you have carvings on your
Some,
phone.
yeah.
You have a very, it looks like Monet's work. It does, it looks like, your palette looks very Monet-ish. I'm curious about what you do, because I like what you're doing, and I don't. Did you just build a swing? Yeah, you're.
Yeah. I don't have anything for it. It's just my dog.
Oh, is it a golden doodle?
He's an Aussie dude.
That was the Aussie doodle.
Yeah.
What is what?
Australian shell.
Oh, an Australian shell. Okay, an Aussie doodle. Awesome.
Yeah.
I bet that's, how big is he?
He's almost 50 pounds.
Okay. This is, I like what you're doing. You're putting your cool values in. Your neck is still a little bit skinny.
I'm not getting the red I want. I'm
Okay.
getting mixing.
Okay,
I got.
let me see what you have here.
And I'm not getting this salmon color.
Okay, the salmon, I am doing salmon by taking some of this. You might take this.
Well, the alizarin is over here.
What is this?
It's over here.
Is this it here?
Yeah, it's frozen.
Alright, where is our,
I need more
I
white.
need to get some of mine out.
here you go. This is pretty salmon. Oh, there it is right there. You want some?
No, I've got it here, thank you. Right here.
See if that doesn't do it for you. I don't want to tell you to not do it your way because I think it's interesting. Your painting is, every time I come over to it, I'm like, okay, it's so different than anything else that's out here today. I'm just telling you that, but I like it. That's why I'm afraid to, I don't want to squelch what you got going on here. It's a nice brush. But like on the body.
What are you doing? I don't know, but I don't usually get paint on me and it bothers me.
That's why I wear gloves.
What is this?
What red is that you want?
Yeah.
Mm.
I know that you got your CAD here, but your CAD is seeming more orangey. So your stroke, don't be afraid. I don't want to mess what you're doing up. That's why I'm saying I don't want to. I kind of like what you're doing, but I was just going to try to thicken up his neck a little bit. I guess part of it is you've used a lot more white, and you're keeping your strokes very, like you very, it's very Monet-y. I don't know if that you would take that as an insult or a compliment, but I like it. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Since you seem to be a very soft stroke, I don't want to mess what you've got going on. This will have to get a little bit heavier. This is your, so on your bottom stroke here, where it's cool. Here, and a line here. Back up. See, your loop is a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Because you have a very skinny neck. What's the matter? Hillary, what you got going on over there?
I know what you need to, you need your music.
I do need my music, you're right.
You need-
Anybody knows me, my students know, I'm usually singing and dancing. And I'm sorry, you didn't pay for that. So I can't be giving you that, cause you know, some of this stuff is, you know.
Little Zumba.
It's funny
Little
to say,
Zumba,
but
we'll
you
get a
actually can't
Zumba
live
class
stream if you have
in,
music
and
playing.
we'll do this and
Oh,
that.
you can't?
Copyright stuff, they won't let you stream music when you're live
Really?
streaming.
Gotcha.
I mean,
I
it
did
can be
not
fine.
know that.
That's why I have my son, he keeps me honest. And out of jail, maybe. You gonna do that for me? You gonna do that for your mama?
Something like that.
He's my guy, he knows a lot of stuff.
That is not right.
I don't, but do you see what I'm doing? I just thickened his neck up a little bit.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot more accurate on your, and then you'll be able to go in with, because I like your style and I don't wanna mess with it too much. When you're getting down here, you're gonna, just like we did before, you're gonna go in with your cooler color where you see it around here. And then you're going to, you're just gonna move through it. But you still gotta keep that, you've gotta keep that stroke like this. Be thinking like in this direction.
Yeah.
Cause it's gonna be, this part of his head is dark too.
Okay, it's after 1, my belly says.
Yeah, I know, mine is saying the same. Mine's been saying that since, unfortunately, a long time.
10 o'clock this morning.
Well, yeah, luckily Matt and I stopped at McDonald's and I got a Big McMuffin, but you know, it's McDonald's.
Love your egg muffins.
And it's okay to just make it a little bit wiggly like that as you're putting it in, but I like what you're doing. It's different, and I don't want to. This looks like Renee. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm not going because I've already changed it too much. But that's the idea as far as getting. You've got to get the a little bit more intensity perhaps. But I really like what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay. Now here you are sitting there. Well, okay. What I'm going to criticize or critique you on. One is Bill is really pointy. Like he looks like he could stab his food with that bill. Okay, that's all right. That's no big deal. But this kind of stroke down here, we got to loosen that up because it can't be as tight as the bird itself. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to let you get out of the chair for a sec. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. You got to loosen that up. So let me fix this bill. Is this what you're working with? This brush here? Let's see.
That one and that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
So his bill is more like, where's your reference?
Oh, where is my reference?
Ah, there we go. So it's actually kind of nubby. So we're gonna say his bill is right here,
Okay.
and it goes down at this angle, and this one comes down. So I'll let you fix this guy in a minute. And then it stops here, and it goes over here. So that's okay, I'm not gonna, and then that's where you put your light color in here. Your salmon-y color, I'll just go with this one. Make it happen, just make it happen. So you came from where now? You told me where it was.
Pikeville?
Where is that though?
Oh, it's in the triangle between Nashville, Knoxville, and Chattanooga.
Okay.
Not too far, unless you take those back mountain roads. Then it's really far.
Okay.
Like you did.
And dangerous.
Is it Pikeville, Tennessee or Kentucky?
Tennessee.
Okay, there's a Pikeville, Kentucky just up the road here.
Yeah.
What is close to that area?
Jack Daniels country down there. Jack Daniels.
In that area.
Which one's Kentucky?
Okay, with this down here though, I'm gonna let you work the rest of this in. You're gonna see that this is gonna be more like here. But I'll let you fix the bill based on that. But when you're doing your water and your reflective stuff, it's gonna be wigglier. So it should be like
Stroke.
you need to break it up. See how broken up that is and wiggly? You've made him look too perfect. He looks just like he's like super perfect here. And so you want to keep your shapes. So this is gonna become green in here. I'm trying to stick with your. You like the light greens here. We're gonna have to get you some more Gamsol for sure. And trying to use a color that much. And these are gonna get a lot darker. You can, like in your colors like this, when you get up in here, you can go really dark if you want to, up in here. And you can see there's a lot of dark in here. So if his bill,
Someone's got eBay.
that's an eBay sound?
Yeah.
Yep.
Matt knows stuff like that. So you're gonna bring that, remember I was saying you're gonna bring colors into other colors, but you're not going to, so if you're bringing or breaking up some of the cadmium, you don't want that cadmium to get dirty. So we're gonna break it up by moving that color. See how I got cadmium in this? That's not a good thing. I don't want that to happen. I'm trying to keep my colors separate without them. Because what ends up happening, we've all had paintings that got muddy on us, right?
Yeah.
What happens? What do you think causes muddy?
Overworking the paint.
Yes, those are all good answers, but usually it's because we chose the wrong value or the wrong temperature of a color. And we're trying to correct it and we get it neutralized and then it's nothing. Then it's meh. Okay? So when I'm talking about trying to keep colors clean, I'm also trying to avoid muddy. Because what is red and green? They're complements, yes? And if you end up neutralizing your colors and you don't have anything, it just has a big old mess. So I'm trying to keep my colors as clean as I can possibly get them. And you are gonna need to have more of this. We'll get you some more Gamsol. But you have to just make sure that you're putting enough color down, but you've gotta keep it, see how it's all wiggly?
Right.
So it would be better for you, instead of not seeing this, is to actually hold it in your hand.
Okay.
And if you're holding it in your hand, you can't help but see it. So you're gonna sit there and look at it and you're gonna keep moving it because looking at your reference is gonna be the biggest help in trying to get this correct. Because if you move this in and you can try and get some more oil, some more stuff here. You know, you can see how this, cuts in and this cuts in and it's all kind of weird looking. It should look weird because it's a reflection, it's not the actual. So that will be a good start in trying to make that. And we'll have to get your values in here too. So it's darker. It looks pretty, but it needs to be darker. So you can get in here and put a lot more dark in here. And then you'll be able to see those legs. And the same thing happens to those legs on the bottom. These will be nice and clean and straight, but the reflective part will actually be wiggly and messy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So let's get you some more. And we'll go steal from Fran. We'll go steal from Brenda. How you doing?
Oh God, she knows.
Hey, you're going.
I'm catching up.
You're doing okay then. Can I bother you for, look at this, golly.
Right? I'm getting one of those.
What is that for?
She has.
I made a little art bucket.
Oh, how cute.
It's such a cool invention.
I think that is quite clever.
Great.
Well, you should see, I guess it's Faye's, way of holding her paints. She's got like this.
I've seen that little board over there.
Yeah. Oh, that goes in here.
It doesn't matter. It was
This
just.
looks like a good thing to carry wine though, too.
I
just
know,
saying.
Dan got me that, and he said, well, it matched the bucket. But
It looks like you can have
he
wine
said,
in
and you
there.
love red. My poor husband.
All right. All right. How are we doing over here? Hey, y'all are doing okay.
Yeah, I just didn't make it to the bottom, or to
You can bring those legs
the actual.
down to here.
You can bring it down a little bit. Can I rub it down?
You can.
I'm just running behind.
It's okay. You know what? When everybody says they're at a good place for food,
Yeah.
let me know, because I'm there. I'm in a good place for food right now. Meaning, I would love to have some. That's what that means, in case you were wondering.
You must be hungry. Where are you going from?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna, while y'all are catching up, and you tell me that's a good place for you to stop.
How far do you want us?
Excuse me?
Like, how far should we get along?
How far should we be?
Whichever way is comfortable for you. If you find yourself at a good stopping point, like for example, you know, I could say, we could say, take it all the way, and so we can use our big brushes and do our blending and make our but we're not all there at the same point yet. So this will stay wet today, and I'm thinking we may work on this when we come back from lunch too, and then switch to the other one, because I don't want to scrape my palette with all my cadmiums. I want to keep it where it's at. So, then there's that.
Ooh. Something happened there.
Well, if anyone cares, I'm good when everyone else is good.
Okay.
And I know the two ladies over there are hungry.
Oh, I'm pretty hungry too. Absolutely. Second that one.
Good, because I'm really hungry. Because, like, I've obviously have not skipped too many meals, but food sounds really good to me right now.
That has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, well,
You gotta feed the beast.
feed the beast. This beast is saying, feed me.
No, not red. Goes out into the green.
Ah. I'm just kind of cleaning up my lines and stuff before we cut out. See, I'm going to need more Gamsol too. Yeah, the music, we're definitely missing the music, aren't we?
Want me to sing?
Please do. Would you sing for us?
Let's go down to the river to pray.
There we go. Actually, last year, buddy, who was her that sang, and we were singing Crazy.
Barbara.
It was Barbara. That's right. You remembered. It was Barbara. Remember, she was just singing.
It was really sweet.
It was really
We listen to
fun.
a lot of Southern gospel at work. For a Catholic girl, I know a lot of Southern Baptist songs.
That's but that's some good music, though.
Oh, it is. It's much better than Catholic songs. Ooh. We have horrible music.
Really? Is that true?
Yes.
But you have like Ave Maria. No?
In a tone only dogs can hear. I shouldn't say that. It's very high, and I can't get there because I have a very deep voice.
Oh, to sing Ave Maria?
To sing anything, to be perfectly honest.
Well, I have an alto voice too. That's why when I was a kid, I always had to sing, you know, the harmony, not the melody, because I was an alto.
They just put me in the back and told me to move my lips.
There was a post, somebody had posted this funny video of this cat that would attack this woman every time she sang. And honest to goodness, when I was in college, my cat did the same thing. Because I would be singing like Christmas music at the top of my lungs. And you know what? It doesn't matter that I don't sound good. It sounds good in my own head. So I
done all this.
and my cat would run at me and just like have this face like this. Like, please stop! You know, she
my cat ears.
you're killing me! I have no place to go.
He says, before you go to lunch, when adding darks to a painting, do you have to consider it dry and darker, or with oils, what you see is what you get?
If I understand, are we assuming that the color will dry differently?
Yeah, he's asking
No.
if it when it dries.
What you see is what you get. I mean, when you're putting your colors down, that's pretty much what we're doing. There's no weird, like, colors, it's not going to dry differently.
It's not like painting a wall.
It's not like painting a wall. No.
Suzanne, when you get a minute,
Yes? Yes.
would you come over here and?
I would love to.
Oh, I would love for you to come.
Okay.
Oh, no,
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, honey, it's fine.
This is her problem too.
Yeah, we're the problem group
Yeah.
over here,
Okay, guys,
the twins. The problem.
vanished.
Okay, she's at that eating place.
Well, if I get too tired, I'll start.
And I'm looking at my bill. My animal's bill is like not right. The reflection looks better than the actual bill. That's funny. Okay.
I heard the bell go off.
Was that's somebody? I don't think that was even me. Usually that would be me. I don't see anybody. Oh, Gretchen Hunter commented on the link we shared.
I love Gretchen.
How's Gretchen? You have to. I saw that. I just looked at my phone and saw that Gretchen. Hey, Gretchen, you should be here with us today.
Where is she?
I don't know. Oh, you mean where does she live?
No, I mean like where.
Why isn't she here?
Yeah. I feel
Exactly.
Like, I feel like she owes us an explanation.
I think she does. Where are you, Gretchen?
Okay, when you get through, we'll go on.
Haven't even started this part yet. You haven't either.
No. I haven't even got my
So
bird
just like
finished.
Gretchen did last year, I think I'm gonna stay here and paint like all night.
Oh, you're gonna go eat.
Remember?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, like she was like, oh, okay.
Child, if I get too far behind, I get
But
really,
then
really
I seem to get
anxious.
her, I can't paint and leave. Leave it, stroke, then leave.
Yeah, you've heard me say that.
I have, what would Sue say?
Leave
Leave it.
Leave it. Leave it. Okay.
It does, it sounds horrible.
Oh, Macy.
Sounds like was it Billy Idol? Not Billy Idol. Who was it? Who sang Stroke? Not Billy Idol.
Wait, stroke.
Stroke. Stop. I can hear the song, but it wasn't Billy. It wasn't Billy Idol. Billy.
Crystal.
Well, there's stroke.
Where are we at? Who was in the weeds? Okay.
Me,
Tell me why you think you are, because I think you look pretty good.
well, I don't know,
You're talking about the reflective aspect.
Right.
You know what, that will be good to get into after lunch. Let's do that at lunch,
All
after
right.
we get back, because I think there's a lot of people hungry. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, you in the front. I need help. Just for a second. Okay, just a minute. I think you're in a good place. Your bird's looking better than, when you said that, I thought, oh Lord, what'd she do? What'd she do?